It's a Tuesday. It's a Texan Tuesday. As the French would say, it's a très chaude Tuesday. Here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. Glad to have you with us here on this Tuesday afternoon. My name is Craig Wade. Thanks very much for joining us. The producer, who's going to be on vacation after today for the next week, is Jake Herman. Do you know what très chaude is in French?
I'm trying to use some context clues on this.
The first word, T-R-E-S, très, like très bien, very good, très. Do you know what chaude?
Chaude.
C-H-A-U-D. Très chaude.
Very hot Tuesday?
Yes, that's
there it is.
Exactly what it is. It's a very hot Tuesday afternoon. But we're glad to have you with us. Hope you're staying cool, dry, and comfortable wherever you might be. And we're with you up till 5 o'clock this afternoon. So glad to have you with us. And plenty of things to get to on the program. As always, we offer up the text line for your observations, your questions, or comments. All you have to do is text the word Texas, followed by your question or comment to 81530. That's Texas. The word Texas. It can be with a capital T or lowercase, whatever. But you do have to put the word Texas in front because that delineates it from some other iHeart text lines in other parts of the world, actually. So you text the word Texas, followed by your question or comment to 81530. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. So you can reach us that way. You can also reach us via the TalkBack microphone or TalkBack feature by downloading, if you haven't already, the iHeart Radio app. It's real easy to do, and it's free. So you download the iHeart Radio app, then you do a search for AM 1300 The Zone. It'll pop right up, and then you'll see two buttons. One is a white one. It's kind of triangular or arrowhead shape. That's to listen to what's going on here if you push that one. But there's another button, a red one with a little white microphone. And if you push that button, it opens up the TalkBack mic, and you leave us a message, just like leaving us a regular voicemail message. And you have up to 30 seconds to leave us a message. And it can be about anything. Question or comment, again, obviously this being what we strive for, a family program. So try to keep it within the lines on that. But if you have a question or comment, you can do it that way as well. Actually have your voice heard on the air. And I will remind folks that starting next Monday and for the ensuing 3 weeks that begin next Monday, we're going to give away a copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine on the show, one each hour of every day, Monday through Friday, for the next 3 weeks afterwards. And that's how you're going to be able to earn that copy. And we'll tell you how you can do that when the time comes, but you're going to have to do it on the TalkBack microphone. So just make sure you have the iHeart Radio app. It's free, easy to download to your smartphone, be it an iPhone or an Android. And then you just then do the search for AM 1300 The Zone. Again, it'll pop right up, and then you push that red button with a white microphone and leave us the message. Sometimes it'll be a trivia question that shouldn't be too difficult. Other times it will just be on demand, call and response. Hey, be the first person to do it or whatever, and whoever that is going to get it. But we'll give away one copy each hour. So if you're unable to listen at the 2 o'clock hour, you can in the 3, if not in the 3 or the 4, whatever. But we'll do it 3 copies per day for 3 weeks, Monday through Friday. So we will definitely make sure to do that. Speaking of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, the first of our Tuesdays with Tepper visits comes up in the 3 o'clock hour. Greg Tepper is the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. And Tepp will join us. We'll talk. Today will be largely about the makeup of this year's magazine, because it hasn't been on the shelves that long, 2, maybe 3 weeks. And many of you may not have a copy of it yet. Maybe you're waiting to see when we were going to give one away, because we've given away copies for the last, I think, 28 years. This will be the 29th year of doing. We started doing it in 1998 on this radio station is when we started doing it, and did it all the way up through 2016 on this station. Took it across town when we were across town for the 6 years, and then back over here afterwards again. We started it up again 2 years ago, and then last year, and as we get to the end of August, which will mark the 3rd anniversary of my return here to the iHeart family and 1300 The Zone. We'll have it again. So we will give away copies of that magazine. But Greg Tepper will join us in the 3 o'clock hour to discuss things. 4 o'clock hour, Gene Watson will join us, our MLB insider. We are inside a week to the Major League Baseball trading deadline. And I'll have questions for him, like, now that the Tigers have stumbled over the last week, does that mean that Tarek Skubal is definitely up for bids for bargains, so to speak? Will there be an opportunity for a team to trade for him? Other players, are the Padres buyers or sellers? We're hearing Mason Miller's name brought up a bit, their outstanding closer. The Padres are, I think, 2 games out of the last wild card spot. That's been the hard thing, is ascertaining whether you're in the race or not in the race. Jake Herman, your Washington Nationals, would you say they're in the race?
They got 1 foot at the race. They're trying to find their way to the starting line because they're in a crowded picture. But I just think with the bullpen, there's no shot that the Nationals can find a way to surpass teams like the Pirates and the Cardinals and the Marlins down the stretch.
So does that mean, because I think I've read that they'd actually be willing to listen to offers for James Wood and C.J. Abrams, but that you'd probably have to mortgage the farm to do it?
For those two, my hope would be that the Nationals are hanging up the phone.
Okay.
I don't want those two to go anywhere. Everything they do right now should be trying to extend James Wood, who is a Boris client, who is not going to extend anytime soon. So what you need to do is make yourself a competitive team at that moment. And that, to me, involves keeping C.J. Abrams around because he has shown to be a terrific shortstop.
Absolutely. He's got some pop, too.
Well, yeah, and more so for his bat. The bat is now masking the below-average defense.
Yeah, right. So we'll see about that. I actually watched the Pirates Diamondbacks game last night. Saw the Pirates walk that off in the bottom of the 10th inning. So, yeah, the Pirates are actually tied with the D-backs for the last wild card spot right now. Now, again, this is late July, not late September. So there's 2 months to go in the season. But even to be mentioning the Pittsburgh Pirates at this point shows the progress and that they might be actually buyers in this coming up. We hear that if the Padres do decide that they don't want to be players in this thing and to go ahead and offer up Mason Miller, that the Pirates are one of the ones that would be really interested because their bullpen's kind of shaky. Now, I will say this. The Leander High School product, Mason Montgomery, did well and has done well. He got a save 2 days ago when they took the final game against the Cubs, and he got the win last night in the 10th inning. The former Leander Lion and Texas Tech Red Raider. So anyway, that'll remain to be seen. So anyway, we'll talk some baseball with Gino coming up.
I got a kick, Craig, out of watching the Nats last night. Max Scherzer made his return.
How about that? Scherzer back on the hill. And so now, all these veteran positions, what is he now, 42?
That's right.
Wow. So
bring him back if the Blue Jays are sellers.
Yeah.
Have him mentor the young guys. I don't know. I think the Nationals have some more selling to do. I just hope it's not the two guys you mentioned, Wood and Abrams.
Yeah. Well, and again, supposedly they'd have to, you have to back up the Brinks truck in terms of prospects and trade bait and things like that. And that's where the Nationals are a prime example of what I'm talking about. Are you a buyer? Are you a seller right now? And they're kind of, is it 1 foot in, 1 foot out right now?
I think if you can help yourself later without completely sacrificing the now, then I'm all for it. More moves like Meade for early.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So coming up, that'll be in the 4 o'clock hour. We will do that. There is one afternoon baseball game going on right now, kind of a little bit nutty. It's the Battle of Ohio. The Guardians playing in Cincinnati had a 4-0 lead, except the Reds have just put 5 on the board in the bottom of the 4th, and they've now taken a 5-4 lead in that contest. And probably, and I'll bring this up with Gene Watson, that this is kind of an important thing just to keep track of. May not matter, may not amount to a hill of beans when all is said and done. However, the Rangers win over the Seattle Mariners yesterday earned Texas the win of the season series. So the Rangers have taken the season series from Seattle. What might that mean? Maybe nothing. But it might be a tiebreaker in terms of wild card or division. So important to keep an eye on that as we head down the home stretch of that. And the American League West is still very, very much up for grabs. Rangers, Mariners, Astros, still in the thick of the fight. So we'll talk some baseball with Gene Watson coming up at the 4 o'clock hour. We have college football to get to. We do have Inconceivable. We'll have that for you this afternoon as well. However, up next, we're going to hear from Longhorns head basketball coach Sean Miller. There was media availability on the UT campus this morning. Sean's got new additions to his roster, both in terms of highly heralded freshmen and also incoming portal additions. So Sean Miller with a lot to discuss. We'll get to that coming up. And again, more than happy to take your questions, your thoughts, your comments as well. Text us. Text the word Texas followed by your question or comment to 81530. Standard messaging and data rates may apply. Or you can leave us a message on the TalkBack microphone on the iHeartRadio app. All right, coming up, we'll hear from the head coach, Sean Miller of Longhorn Basketball on 1300 The Zone.
Everything runs through Austin.
Swing and a miss! Light the tower! The Texas Longhorns have won their second straight softball national championship.
Congratulations to Texas softball on winning back-to-back national championships.
Gary going back. Warning track. Deep. It's gone. Tegan's 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss.
1300 The Zone. Your home for champions. Your home for the Horns.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena. Streaming live on Disney Plus and Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
Looking for a great deal on a new truck? Head to Covert Chevy in Hutto. It's now open on Sundays for your convenience. Right now, get $13,923 off of MSRP on a new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 LTZ. Whether it's for work, the ranch, or your next road trip, there's never been a better time to drive home in a Silverado. Visit Covert Chevy Hutto and experience the Covert difference. That's a Covert deal. That's Covert Chevy Hutto right off of 79 in Hutto. CoverChevyHutto.com. Together, let's drive.
Hi, guys. I'm Ken.
And I'm Bella, and we are
Rowdy Cowgirls from Central Texas' #1 sports bar, Rowdy Cowboy.
And we love Tuesdays because it's bikinis and boots.
That's right, guys. Every Tuesday, we will be in our sexiest bikinis and our cutest boots.
Come see us and enjoy ice-cold beer, craft cocktails, a Texas-side menu, and 69 TVs. And every Tuesday, all Texas beers and spirits are $2 off.
So saddle up and head to Rowdy Cowboy in Round Rock. Let's get rowdy
off of I-35 in Round Rock. Visit us at Go Rowdy Cowboy.
If you run a business and need to get your message to your next customers fast, nothing is faster than audio with iHeart. Let us help you reach the audience you need to grow your business at the speed of sound at iHeartAdvertising.com.
When I beat the guys in my fantasy league, text wasn't enough. I used Smile Tunes to create a victory ballad specifically naming everyone I defeated. It was the most beautiful way to be a terrible winner. Visit SmileTunes.com and claim your ultimate victory soundtrack.
The places you can go with an Easy Tag, and it's not just toll roads throughout Texas. You get seamless toll travel in Oklahoma, Kansas, Florida, Colorado. Get your Easy Tag at hctra.org.
T-Mobile has an exclusive bundle for customers 55 and up. I'm Sarah Bowl.
Yeah, I'm Frank Bowl.
A reliable network is key for us. And with T-Mobile, it's been wonderful. And going to the 55 plus plan saved us so much money.
A lot.
And that's important. Trying to keep costs down. The home internet's been perfect. It's fast, it's quick. The setup was so easy, it took less than 15 minutes.
It was like, ta-da! If you want simplicity, coverage, reliability, you want the whole package, T-Mobile has it.
Right now, T-Mobile customers 55 and up can get 2 phone lines on America's best network, plus America's fastest 5G home internet for just $30 each.
$30 per month each line with autopay plus taxes and fees. Minimum age 55. Pricing for home internet rely on 2 lines of essentials. Choice 55. $35 connection charge per line required. Best mobile network and fastest 5G home internet based on analysis by Oak Cliff Speed Test Intelligence Data 2H 2025. All rights reserved.
Now here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Credit. That's credit. Enter it now.
Dave, what are you doing?
Just sending a gift to Dave 2037.
Who?
Me in the future. I save a little money from every paycheck as a gift to Dave 2037, so he can spend it on things like anti-gravity boots or a hologram Doberman, something cool like that. I think Dave 2037 deserves it. He worked hard. What are you getting Steve 2037?
I guess I was thinking Steve 2037 would just fend for himself.
Well, all right, but don't expect to be borrowing my anti-gravity boots.
You want to have money in your future? You got to start saving now. Putting some money from every paycheck into a savings account or contributing to your 401k can make a big difference later. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
Hey, let's just hope Steve 2037 doesn't get his hands on a cold time machine, because he is going to come back here and knock some sense into you.
This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Horns. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
This being a Texan Tuesday, our return cuts always include, but are not limited to, but definitely inclusive of, in the 4 o'clock hour, hearing from the King, George Strait. In the 3 o'clock hour, from the iconic Willie Nelson. And here in the 2 o'clock hour, belting out Mary Had Little Lamb, is the immortal Stevie Ray Vaughan. And Paul McCartney did a Mary Had a Little Lamb version in the early 70s, right after he formed the band Wings.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Timeless song.
It's quite a bit different, that one.
You're listening to a live performance here, I believe, from 1991?
Yep. Okay. Is that Austin City Limits?
The Elma Combo.
Okay. So here we are on a Texan Tuesday. And we might as well start with some Texas basketball here. Sean Miller getting ready to start his second season as head coach of the Longhorns. And quite the first season. Struggles as they all tried to get to know one another and become a cohesive unit. Had a couple of big wins down the stretch of the regular season, including winning the Saturday game in College Station. Promptly turned around and lost in the first round of the SEC tournament to Ole Miss, got knocked out of the tournament, and had to go to Dayton, Ohio to play in the first 4 for the second consecutive year. But unlike 2025, when the Longhorns lost to a Sean Miller coach Xavier team in 2025 in the first 4 in Dayton, the Sean Miller coached Longhorn team beat North Carolina State with a late shot from Tremont Mark to win that first 4 game then as the 11 seed went out to Portland, Oregon, beat the 6 seed BYU, ending the collegiate career of A.J. DeBonson, sending him on to Jake Herman's Washington Wizards. Then in the second round, stunning the 3rd seed Gonzaga to get to the Sweet 16 in San Jose, California, where they lost by a point on a tip-in shot to the 2 seed Purdue. So it was quite a finish for that Longhorn basketball team. So they've been hard at it in the offseason, rebuilding the roster and getting ready for the second year under Coach Miller, 2026, 2027. And here he is in late July. And this morning in a media availability was asked, where is he in terms of his roster and his team and his feel for everybody at this point as opposed to at this same time a year ago?
Well, I've actually thought about that a lot. What a difference a year makes. You know, I was going through it the other day. I think we as a family, you know, just in terms of coming to the University of Texas, it's been like 16 months. It feels a lot longer than that, but it's a reminder that, you know, no matter what we all try to do, as much as you like to get things perfect, like to get systems in place and people in place doing what we feel like we need to do to be the best we can be, it does take time. And I think last summer, last fall, and quite frankly, much of last season fell into that category where even if we were on the right track, we were the furthest thing from where we want to be. So I think a big difference between this summer and last summer is just that familiarity, number one, with me, our staff. We live here, we work here, we've been through a full basketball season, and we already have one summer under our belt. When you go through something a second time, it's clear, it's more straightforward, and I think you can implement a culture, implement a system, have a better feel and understanding. And consequently, I believe that we as a program can make more progress through the summer months than we could have last year because of just the zero familiarity that we had. So I really believe this, and we're not through our summer program yet. We have a few weeks left, but we've had a really great summer. We've become a closer team. We have a hard working group, and some of the things that we've set out to do, we're well on our way of doing, like implementing our system. And
looks like I cut that one a little bit short, but that was about all he had to say.
Implementing their system and other things. Okay, so they do feel that they've made some progress over that ever where they were a year ago. Now to the roster. And in talking about the roster, if you just went down the roster, you have Mikey Lewis, the transfer guard from St. Mary's. You have Amari Evans, the sophomore transfer from Tennessee at the guard spot. You have the sophomore Isaiah Johnson, who transferred in from Colorado, a true point guard type. You have freshman Joe Sterling coming in from Los Angeles, California at a guard spot. At a forward spot, you have the freshman, the 6'11 Coleman Elkins coming in. He played at Blair Academy in New Jersey, but he's from the Austin area. Of course, you have Bo Ogden, the freshman out of Westlake, the son of the Longhorn, the lifetime Longhorn, and the program's general manager, Chris Ogden, at a forward spot. You have a swingman in Elijah Freeman, who's the junior transfer from Auburn. And you have John Clark, the redshirt freshman from Houston out of Link Academy. You have the outstanding five-star freshman in Austin Gooseby from Melissa, who played at Dynamic Prep, and of course, whose brother is the starting left tackle on the Longhorn football team, Trevor. You have David Punch, who is a junior transfer. He's from Harker Heights up by Killeen, transferred in from TCU. You have Luis Obiora, the 7'1 redshirt freshman center from London, England. He redshirted a year ago. You have Anthem McDermott, who is a redshirted sophomore from Hallsville out in East Texas. And then you have some other heralded freshmen. Marcus Spears, out of Dynamic Prep, outstanding 6'9 freshman. You have Montas Laurencikas from Kaunas, Lithuania. And that's the other Lithuanian they have on the roster next to that guy, Modest Vokatitis, who's back for his junior year. So there's a lot of fresh faces in the construction of this roster. And Sean Miller was asked about what are the goals in terms of the roster assembly and how you put together your rotations and what you're looking for out of that, and how the new players, and I just ran down the list, several new guys, how the influx and the cohesion to be established with those new guys to go with the returnees can make this basketball team better.
I'll start first with how we ended last season. Last season's ending gave our program tremendous momentum. As much as you like to talk about the totality of a college basketball season, so much of our game is wired for March Madness, whether we like to admit it or not. It's really not fair when you consider it's a 35 to 37 game season and it begins in the summer. But those 4 weeks in March, 5 weeks, first week of April, it captivates the world that loves the sport. And we were playing our very best. Guys like Tremont Mark, Jordan Pope, Dalen Swain, Modest, Kendall Weaver, those guys, they rose. Like our team came together, and because of how it finished in the level that we were able to play at, it gave us a tremendous, I think, runway towards the next season. So, number one, we had a strategy in the portal. We really wanted to make sure that our guard position, our forward position, and our center position were intact. And we wanted to create experience and depth and really build a team that could compete for the top prize in our league, the SEC. So we set out to do that. And when you look at our portal, and I know we've talked since then, but and I have to look down just to remind myself, making sure, but we got 5 players from the portal, and I'll go through every one of them. I'll start with Isaiah Johnson. Isaiah's missed a little time with a thumb injury. He's fully back this coming week. So we've played the last couple of weeks without him, which has in some ways been good. It's given some of our younger players more of an opportunity to play different positions. But Isaiah Johnson, 18 years old a year ago at Colorado in the Big 12, averaged 16 points a game. And I think that if I just stop right there, if you're in the Big 12 conference and you shoot the percentages that he shot and you average 16 points a game as an 18-year-old, I think it shows that he has a huge high ceiling. And we're really excited about helping him get to that ceiling. David Punch, more familiar here with you guys, coming from and the fact that he's from Texas and played at TCU. We had a previous relationship with David and his family because, believe it or not, we recruited him very hard when we were at Xavier. We thought he was a diamond in the rough, tried very hard, but built a relationship with his family and David. I think they recognized that we really believed in him. That was helpful once David went in the portal, that it gave us a leg up. But, David Punch, playing for Jamie Dixon, great coach in the Big 12, like Isaiah, he's proven rebounding, scoring, shooting percentage. If you looked at what he did, for example, in TCU versus Florida a year ago, very few players have played better against Florida a year ago than what David did. So we're thrilled to add his experience, his physicality, and mostly, like, when you get guys from the portal, you want them to fit. And I think Modest and David Punch form a very physical 1-2 punch. No pun intended there. Elijah Freeman, again, there'll be more familiarity with our group because Elijah most recently played at Auburn. When we scouted Auburn, he jumped off the page in terms of his athleticism and the plays that he made. It's amazing, his track record. High school senior in Southern Florida, Division II All-American as a freshman, transfers to the SEC. Auburn plays one of America's toughest schedules a year ago and had a prominent role, had a great ending to his season. And I just think Elijah's versatility and just like his upside reminds me a lot of Dalen Swain, where he is today is nowhere near where he can be. And so excited about his versatility on the wing. Amari Evans, similar to Elijah and David Punch in that Amari is from Pittsburgh, where I'm from. We recruited Amari very hard out of high school when we were at Xavier, formed, I think, a trust and a strong relationship with his mom and him. Obviously, me and him drank the same water, right? We're from the same area. So we finished second to Tennessee. But oftentimes the way the portal works, that familiarity helps. And once he went into the portal, we knew him. We knew a lot about him. And I just think Amari's defensive presence, his physicality, playing for Coach Barnes, like Elijah Freeman playing in the SEC a year ago, like you're bringing in an experienced, seasoned player, yet he's still young in his development. And again, I don't think he's anywhere near where his ceiling is. That's the one common theme with the guys we got this spring. They're not like a one-year player. They're not in their final season. They've been in college for 3 or 4 years. Most of the guys that we got, if you think about it, I'm talking about their upside, their age. They have multiple years, and I think that's exciting, the possibilities for us and them. And then finally, Mikey Lewis. And, again, Mikey playing for Randy Bennett at St. Mary's. If you play for Coach Bennett, you're one of the most well-coached players in college basketball. First of all, newcomer of the year, sixth man of the year, all-conference player this year, scored over 30 points against Gonzaga, played a prominent role on back-to-back NCAA tournament teams. And, again, somebody who can shoot the basketball and score it, who's played at a very high level and has been from a winning culture. So you combine all those players right there, that group of 5, I think it gives us firepower, experience, depth, and most importantly, a fun group to work with, because I don't know if any of them are a finished product. I just think all of them have another level they can get to. And, it's up to our environment, our staff to help them get there.
All right. So there's some of the roster rundown there from Longhorns head coach Sean Miller. We'll hear more from him today and tomorrow as well from this media availability. Up next, we bring you today's edition of Inconceivable. We'll continue with that right here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is now a podcast. Love triangles, family feuds, secrets that should probably stay secret. Sponsored by Airtasker. Post your task. Get help from a tasker. Get anything done. That's a stress buster. And binge Therapy Thursday with Ellen K on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, this is Mary at the Department of Rejected Dreams. If you had a dream rejected, IKEA can make it possible.
Hey, I dreamed I'd be ready for college way ahead of time.
And now you're way behind?
Yes, and I have no idea how I'll get it all done on time and in my budget.
Well, luckily, IKEA has everything you need to make it your space on your budget. And with everything ready to take away from our stores with Click and Collect, it's easier than ever.
That's convenient.
Exactly. Get IKEA whenever, wherever, however at IKEA.us. IKEA, dream the possibilities.
In this edition of the Marketers Report, Ro Colinaros, Vice President of Marketing for Omnicom, weighs in on today's splintered media landscape.
The way consumers think and shop and interact with brands is more complex than ever. Brands that can figure out how to move people and how to connect will be the brands that win.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live events, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 512-546-3415 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. Call 512-546-3415 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 512-546-3415. for fast, easy, and affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinic treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 512-546-3415.
What's up, fam? I'm sports journalist Ari Chambers.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Sam J.
And we're the hosts of Everyone Watches Women's Sports, a new podcast from Together and iHeart Women's Sports.
We're breaking down the biggest headlines.
Naomi Osaka showing out.
Shout out to you, Naomi.
The viral moments.
I've been obsessed with Krishan Rock's boxing journey. She looks good. Her combos are swift.
And the stories everyone's talking about across women's sports.
Because everyone watches women's sports.
Open your free iHeartRadio app
and search Everyone Watches Women's Sports and listen now.
A new challenge for Carly Simon. The legendary singer says she has Parkinson's disease.
You're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. You're so vain.
The 83-year-old singer-songwriter has revealed to People that she was diagnosed with Parkinson's after undergoing an extensive medical evaluation at the Mayo Clinic. Simon released a statement explaining she had purposely stepped away from the public eye to learn how to live with the progressive neurological condition, noting that her symptoms can be highly unpredictable from day to day. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Jay-Z's adding additional dates to his limited concert series, 2 shows at London's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on September 4th and 5th, as well as 2 shows at LA's SoFi Stadium October 23rd and 24th. The additional dates follow his 3 sold-out shows at Yankee Stadium earlier this month. And Prince's Purple Rain is coming to Broadway. A stage adaptation of the 1984 cult classic film is in the works, with more than 20 of the singer's iconic hits, including When Doves Cry and I Would Die for You. Previews begin in March at the Majestic Theater in New York, with an opening night set for April 12th. That's entertainment. I'm Daria Albinger.
Back to Craig Way, the voice of the Longhorns on 1300 The Zone.
Well, inconceivable here on a Tuesday afternoon, usually, whenever possible, begins with the junk food, fast food update. We do have that for you. We have no Taco Bell, cyclosporiasis, explosive diarrhea updates for you.
Thank goodness. No news is good news on that.
Yeah, can digest that one.
Nice.
However, this is a candy bar I don't think we've ever talked about on the show. I know it's an extremely popular one. How are you with Kit Kats?
Love them.
Yeah, because you don't have peanut butter, the original one, right?
OG.
Well, now Kit Kat is expanding its candy lineup with 2 chunky bars. Remember Chunky, which you can still get on the shelves? You ever had a Chunky?
No.
Okay.
Do I look? Nothing about me is chunky.
Nope, absolutely not. But the candy bar itself, it's a square block, is what it is. The original one has chocolate and raisins in it.
Ooh, I'm looking at these.
And then there's one that you wouldn't be able to eat, that's chocolate and peanuts. But the original one is the chocolate and raisin one. Well, Kit Kat's kind of partnering up with what they call the Aero Strawberry Chunky Bar and the Chocolate Orange Chunky Bar. They've rolled them out in Australia, and if it goes over well, they're going to bring it in to the U.S. and give it a shot off of that. So they say chocolate orange is getting a fresh twist with it there. But the chunky line, of course, is built around one thick wafer finger. It used to be a big block, and they got that extra thickness, and that's what they're trying to tap into there. Getting big, thick chocolate bars, trying to tap into that. Okay. The reason why I brought that up, part of the reason why I brought that up, is because there's a place where you get large size amounts of candies. We know it as Buc-ee's. You can get all kinds of stuff. You get it. Usually, if Linda and I stop in there, we might pick up a bag of covered almonds. She likes dark chocolate. We'll get that. They have a dark chocolate candy bar with almond bits in it, kind of like a Hershey's with almonds, but it's dark. We'll get that as well. One guy is not a real big fan of Buc-ee's. John Oliver.
Oh yeah.
of
Wait, I
HBO.
was meaning to watch this because I had a friend tell me about it.
Well, he has gotten into it with Buc-ee's.
And now this.
Yeah. He's the host of Last Week Tonight. And he ended the episode a couple of days ago by daring Buc-ee's to pick on a company its own size. See, here's the deal. Buc-ee's is very, very protective, fiercely protective of their trademarks and their logos. In March of 2025, they filed a federal lawsuit against Barky's, which is a business in Southwest Missouri that offered a dog park, coffee, and food shops, and a Western-themed miniature city. By the way, Buc-ee's has now opened up a location there in Southwest Missouri.
I actually did a story on this back in March when you were with the men's basketball team, a similar story where Buc-ee's had to defend its name, image, and likeness.
Yeah, they filed a lawsuit back in January against Superfuels up in the North Texas area, claiming that the logo, which features a brown smiling dog in a red cape set against the blue background, is too similar to Buc-ee's.
Okay, but you can't have a monopoly on red capes.
You can go back to 2013 when they sued the Texas-based convenience store Chicks, claiming that Chicks stemmed from similar concepts, including site and store design. It featured two smiling chickens back-to-back against a red, yellow, and black background, which is similar to Buc-ee's.
Okay, but these seem kind of shaky to me.
So, too, to John Oliver. So, he has issued a challenge. During the segment, he reintroduced Mr. Nutter Butter, a 7-foot-tall squirrel mascot originally created for a 2017 segment taking aim at former coal executive Bob Murray, which resulted in an unsuccessful defamation lawsuit against the show and HBO. The show created a cartoon logo of Mr. Nutter Butter that looked similar to the Buc-ee's logo and put the logo on a variety of products, including tumblers, hats, shirts, onesies, mugs, and pajamas, just like Buc-ee's does with a lot of their stuff. And there are items available for purchase for a limited time at buckoff.com.
Yeah.
Buck-off.com.
He loves buying websites.
He says in the segment, all the profits going to Hunger Free America, a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization in domestic hunger. His quote was, "So if any prominent gas station chain out there has an issue with our logo and products and wants to get lawyers involved, then you know what? Bring the F on. Although remember, in doing so, you'd be directly taking food out of hungry people's mouth." Buc-ee's didn't comment other than to say they were not planning to sue him. They had no plans to sue him. But he really detailed the company's penchant for suing the small businesses whose logos feature cartoon animals, even when they bear very little or no resemblance to the Buc-ee Beaver logo. So he said, Buc-ee's loves to sue other companies, particularly those with animal mascots. He also points out Buc-ee's has won almost all the cases because the other companies usually opt to settle and redesign their logos or just fold completely because, as Oliver points out, most just don't have the resources to fight a company this big. Oliver went on to say, one legal expert said Buc-ee's should be careful with this strategy because the more you sue these smaller companies, the higher the chance you run into the one that has the means to fight back. And he said, and that's where we come in. So that's where that is. So he's like, bring it on. We got no problem with that. Okay. You mentioned this. We were talking about this. I'll tell you what, I'll save this for another thing because it's sports related and get to another one. Disney World's having more issues. Disney World is facing backlash after guests noticed that the propellers, the props on one of the rides, is seemingly held together by cheap adhesive, duct tape.
Uh-oh.
It happened on the Tiana Bayou Adventure, a log flume inspired by The Princess and the Frog. One rider noticed that he didn't belong in it because the back door is held together by duct tape. So they said maybe they should recall it Donald Ducked. It was a green car with the rear slapped with several strips of green duct tape.
What dreams are made of, Craig.
Yeah. So I said, oh my gosh, no way. This is so embarrassing. Walt Disney himself will have a freaking conniption if he saw this. So there's that. And then finally, the one other topic that I had, are you familiar with the term seat squatting when it comes to airline travel?
I'm guessing this means you're saving seats for those maybe in a later boarding group? Or
If only that were the case. No, it's just people who go and sit in your seat hoping you won't sit in it later.
Oh, well, that's not allowed.
That's seat squatting. You'd be surprised with the number of people get away with it because there's a lot of people that don't want to, they're too timid to get involved.
Give me the MLB umps. See ya.
Seat squatters rank among the most hated of airline passengers. In many situations, the motivations are harmless. They might want to sit next to a friend or partner, or they might prefer an aisle seat, but they were assigned a window. In other cases, it may have been a cheeky way of dodging seat reservation fees on budget airlines in the hope they can swap with a fellow passenger or lie their way out of a bad seat. Most of the time, an awkward conversation will rectify the issue. But sometimes you have to inform the cabin crew, especially if it escalates. So they're among the most hated. I had just the opposite happen to me coming home from Tampa on Friday. I get on the plane. I sit in my assigned seat because I'm always very good about that. If I ever don't, it's by sheer accident. I sat one row in front or one row behind, just misread the number, or I sat down in C, an aisle seat, when I should have sat down in D across the aisle. So those things happen on occasion. But most of the time, I'm pretty, I'm pretty attentive to it.
You're a frequent traveler.
Yeah. So I sat in my assigned seat for the first time on Southwest Airlines, an assigned seat, since they've gone to that now. And I sat there, and I'll give thanks to Corey Mose from KVU, who was on the same flight. And I heard he was sitting like 3 or 4 rows behind me. And I heard him talking, because Corey will talk to anybody. He's that friendly a guy. And he was talking to the flight attendants, and they noticed his KVU identification, had a camera with him, and they were asking him. He said, I cover the Longhorns. They said, that must be really great. And he pointed to me and said, you see that guy over there? That's the voice of the Longhorns. He does the radio. Normally that invokes a real big eye roll from me, but I just sat down in my seat. I said nothing. And a few minutes later, one of the flight attendants, I think the senior one, came up to me and she said, Mr. Voice of the Longhorns, would you like to move a couple rows back to a seat with more leg room? And I'm like, I believe I would. Thank you very much. So I did. So I did not instigate it, but I was the happy recipient of it. So thanks to Corey Mose of KVU for that, off of that. But I don't seat squat, not on purpose anyway. And supposedly in this latest survey, that's one of the things that bugs airline passengers the most is seat squatting. When people sit in your seat, accidental's one thing. If somebody is sitting in and you get to it and you say, I believe you're in my seat, and then they say, would you mind switching with me? That's where issues quite often start. And it usually starts from like, they want you to switch to their seat, which is like 10 rows further back, and it's in the middle.
Yeah, and in between two children.
Yeah. Right, exactly. So that's where that comes from. All right, we'll be back to wrap up hour number 1 on 13 Under the Zone.
UT football, basketball, and baseball.
All in one station for all. This is why I listen. 1300 The Zone. 1300 The Zone.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Life after cancer matters, and so does showing up.
Join us October 18th in Austin for Livestrong's Run for the Roses 5K and 10K. Run, walk, or just be part of something powerful.
Sign up today at livestrong.org/run.
I scream. You scream. We all scream. Because Wendy's famous small classic Frosty is just $1 for a limited time. More screaming, happy screaming, summer screaming, dollar small classic Frosty screaming! But please don't scream in the drive-thru. It hurts the employees' ears. Get a $1 small classic Frosty for a limited time, only at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. A la carte only, not valid for delivery. Limit 10 per transaction. Price may be higher in Alaska.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Why pay full price when you can customize and save? Switch to Liberty Mutual, and they'll customize your auto and home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. I'm Nick Turturro. You probably know me from NYPD Blue, The Longest Yard, or Spike Lee's Black Klansman. And on my new podcast, Delivering Happiness with Nick Turturro, I deliver pizza to a new guest. I've shared a slice with everyone, from Seth Rollins. What are you doing, my belt? To Bill Burr.
I don't think I've ever met somebody so exactly out of their mind.
We even have more great guests coming up, including John Turturro.
It's called happiness, delivering happiness.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Delivering Happiness with Nick Turturro, and listen now.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
I'm Gary Veter, and I have a new limited series podcast called Number One Dad. In the 90s, my dad and I ran a con for years where we snuck into the world's most prestigious arena, New York's Madison Square Garden.
Your dad is the type of person that likes an adventure and likes the possibility of opportunity.
As I got older, I learned this wasn't the only scheme my dad was pulling.
He wants me to act like my injury is even worse for a payout.
He actually represented me. He's posing as my attorney in a court.
There were moments where Manny would assume the role of undercover police officer.
My father's never-ending string of lies ultimately broke apart my family. And at 15 years old, I completely cut him out of my life. That was 24 years ago. But I just had a son of my own, and it brought back tons of memories of my childhood, along with tons of questions I wanted answered. How did my father become this scheming mastermind? Was he like this with everyone? And is it possible, after all these years, he's actually changed? I have no idea where he lives or what he's up to, but my goal with this podcast is to track him down and get to the truth about who my father, Manny Veter, really is. This is Number One Dad. Listen to Number One Dad.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Burnt Orange, Bebo, and Ball. Craig Way is talking it all. Now back to the Craig Way Show on 1300 The Zone.
We'll definitely have more to hear from Sean Miller coming up later in the program. But what we will do coming up at the 3 o'clock hour, our first of the weekly conversation that we'll have with Greg Tepper, that used to be managing it. He'll tell you he's still getting used to the title. The editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. I believe it's his second year starting as the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. We'll ask him about the magazine and its how it was put together, its composition, and some of the nuances of it as well. Don't forget, next Monday is when we start giving away copies of it, 1 per hour for 3 straight weeks. Hour number 2 of the program coming up on 1300 The Zone.
When it comes to family law, a lot has changed in recent years, so assumptions can be costly. If you see or sense a change coming in your family life that could have legal implications, it's important to know where you stand. What are your rights and responsibilities? Getting good legal advice early is never a bad idea. I'm Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. If you or anyone you know is facing a family law issue, start with a consultation. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Austin, San Antonio, and St. Louis.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. Please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP. This message furnished by this station.
You know, I used to think all money managers were the same until I spoke with Fisher Investments.
Really? How different are they?
Fisher's investment counselors are dedicated to service, not sales, keeping clients up to date on their portfolio.
Well, they probably just invest in a bunch of mutual funds like I do.
Nope. They build a tailored portfolio based on their clients' personal goals, helping them stay on track for a comfortable retirement.
Well, they must make commissions selling products.
Actually, Fisher doesn't sell any commission-based products. They're a fiduciary, and they believe that's a conflict.
Then they have some kind of complex fee structure.
Nope. Fisher has a simple, transparent fee that's a percentage of their client's portfolio. So they do better when their clients do better.
It sounds like Fisher really is different.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Fisher Investments, clearly different wealth management. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com/different. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
What if we told you Matt Damon was screaming on set to get his voice weather warned for the Odyssey? From the TikTok Podcast Network, Raiders of the Lost Podcast has the whole story about the biggest movies of the summer. Download the iHeartRadio app and search Raiders of the Lost Podcast now.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
This whole surviving life thing is pretty tough. Some people use therapy to get through it, others use their friends, and some just fight their way through. Whatever season of life you're in right now, this podcast is for you. Hi, I'm Morgan from The Bobby Bones Show and host of the new podcast, Take This Personally. I'm bringing on my friends and experts to cover a variety of topics in hopes of us all feeling a little less alone in this crazy world. Nicole, the neuroscientist, will help us understand why we are the way we are.
Our anxious brain or our emotional brain will make us believe things that are not necessarily true.
Jared can relate to fighting our hardest battles.
I was living on couches. Sometimes I was in my car. I was just all over the place. I think about it now, how many people open their doors to me.
We will explore what it means to change careers.
I think a lot of people put the pressure on their career to fulfill their passion, when your purpose or your passion and your calling can be something that's much deeper than just your job.
And how we can all find that special love in this wild dating era.
In order to find the right one, before you do that, you have to be able to identify the wrong one.
This podcast will be the guide you need to surviving life with a friend at your side.
If a friendship is about give and take, but we just want to give, and we're like, oh, I don't want to take, I don't want to impose, I don't want to inconvenience her, then you're not reaping the full benefits of friendship.
The first episode is out now. Download it wherever you get your podcasts.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
This is KVET AM Austin, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, an iHeart radio station, and your home for the Horns. Guaranteed human. He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
Second hour of the program here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. Craig Way alongside the producer, Jake Herman. Glad to have you with us. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll talk college football, high school football, and the publication of such with Greg Tepper, editor-in-chief, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, our first of our weekly Tuesdays with Tepper visits, which we'll do during the 3 o'clock hour on Tuesday. So we'll have that in the coming minutes. On the text line, somebody said the Buc-ee's logo itself is a ripoff of a classic cartoon.
Is there a beaver cartoon that I'm missing?
I'm missing it as well.
Let us know. Yeah, follow up with us on that.
Educate us on that classic cartoon. I'm not sure which one it would be. And then there was somebody else here who apparently has the power of being able to set all records straight.
It says, they were only so simple.
Yeah. I would like to set the record straight on the false narrative that Sarkisian was promoting at SEC Media Days. The reason Texas did not make the playoffs last year was not because they lost to Ohio State, but rather because they did not take care of business against Florida. Had they beaten Florida, as they should have, Texas would have made the playoffs even with the loss to Ohio State. End of story. Well, it's not the end of the story. You are correct. Had they beaten Florida, they'd have gotten in. I will also tell you this. Had they beaten Ohio State and still lost to Florida, they'd have gotten in.
I'm with you.
So two things can be true off of that. And I do agree with you. Had they not lost to Florida, they'd have made it in the playoffs. But he wasn't creating a false narrative. This is the same conversation that he gets asked about and has been asked about quite a bit over time. And I know what you're referring to in his opening comments when they asked him, he talked about it. His biggest point last year was not so much, as you know, about who they're losing to, but who they're playing and strength of schedule, as opposed to a couple of teams that got in and did not have nearly that strength of schedule. So his point was, had they not played Ohio State and played somebody else, another Division I FBS opponent, because they don't play FCS as many of the SEC and Big 12 schools do. They don't play FCS opponents. They play just FBS. But if they had played, say, a lower echelon FBS opponent, won that game, then lost to Florida with 2 losses, they'd have gotten in, even with the loss to Florida. That's why I say, 2 things can be true. 3 things in this case can be true on that. So while I do agree with you, had they not lost to Florida, they would have been in. There are 2 scenarios where had either of those been in play, they would have gotten in even with the loss to Florida. If they beaten Ohio State, or if they'd not played them at all and played another Division I FBS opponent, won that game, and gotten in they would have gotten in with 2 losses. They would not have been left out with 2 losses.
And the people who think they would have somehow been left out with 2 losses because they want to then turn around and nitpick wins, I don't think they have a whole lot to stand on.
Well, so, and that comes from playing in the league that they're playing in and playing in the SEC otherwise. So, a loss to Georgia is not going to scar them. And anybody that wanted to pick on margin of victory is outside the realm on that because the playoff selection committee, the CFP committee, has said on multiple occasions that margin of victory plays very little, if any, factor at all in considering whether a team belongs in the playoff or not.
And as far as the criteria are concerned, we've heard very little consistency, if any at all, from the spokespeople involved. So I can understand the frustration that comes from all sides of it.
You know, one thing I heard, hadn't really heard it espoused from this particular angle, but when it was announced late last week that Ward Manuel was out as athletic director in Michigan, there were a lot of people, including a lot of journalists and pseudo-journalists who do podcasts or whatever, commenting that, well, there's another one who was a terrible chairman of the college football playoff committee that's out now. He was the chairman at one point, but I don't think that being the chairman gives you any more power within the committee in deciding the 12-team playoff than a regular committee member does. It just happens to represent the committee on those interviews with Reese Davis and the panel and in the public realm when they're visiting with other writers and broadcasters from across the country as well. But there was a lot of response on that. There were a lot of people going, boo, that's pretty good for the committee there. Finally got rid of another guy. One had nothing to do with the other, obviously. Ward Manuel had issues of his own on his own campus, despite having a basketball national champion and a football national champion in consecutive seasons. The other way around. Football, obviously, in 23, and then they had 2 out of 3 seasons. They had a football national champion in 23 and a basketball champion in 25-26. But there were a lot of other issues.
Sure were. And
if the name Connor Stallions rings a bell for you.
Yeah, the Dusty May success really alters, I think, his legacy in Ann Arbor. His legacy around the college athletics world is always going to be pretty complicated because of that.
Yeah, no question about that. Okay, all right. Coming up, we'll talk college football, high school football, and the compilation of the latest edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. We'll visit with Greg Tepper, the editor-in-chief of the magazine, coming up when we continue on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
It's Bucky and BK.
And they let you buy a gator from like a PetSmart?
No, not PetSmart, Woolworths. Olds like myself understood that they had all kinds of fish and they had a pet department. Yeah, it was like the Walmart at that time, but you could buy pets in there. And I put it in the tub and stuff, and I had it for, I don't know, probably about 2 or 3 weeks, and then it either died or I let it loose in the sewer.
Is that the one that got chubs?
Yeah.
Weekday afternoons from 5 to 7 on AM 1300 The Zone.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
Liberty, liberty. If you run a business, you've probably heard plenty of AI promises. But here's one thing we know for sure. When consumers hear an ad for your business, 90% want to know it's a real person talking. And that's what you'll get when you advertise with iHeart. We're guaranteed human. That means real voices, real connection, and trusted audio that helps businesses drive results. Learn how easy it is to tell your story through our voices today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
When you see this in your kitchen,
This stainless steel fridge is covered in fingerprints.
you hear this.
Leslie, people are going to think you were raised in a barn or by wolves, or raised in a barn by wolves.
Fortunately, Wyman Stainless Steel 3-in-1 cleans, shines, and protects to give you the best shine. A spray and a wipe will have your fridge shining like a mirror.
Wow, my fridge looks brand new. Your fridge looks amazing, Leslie. Sorry, I was being a little dramatic earlier.
Your kitchen says a lot about you. Let it brag with Wyman.
Now here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Green. That's green. Enter it now.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
Daphne Caruana Galizia was a Maltese investigative journalist and blogger who spent her life fighting for truth, justice, and decency in a country overrun by corruption. But on October 16, 2017, she was assassinated.
There are crooks everywhere you look now. The situation is desperate.
Malta is a tourist paradise, but underneath its extraordinary beauty, there are some dark, dark shadows. This is a place where dark power and dark money likes to hang out. And if you try and tell truth to that dark money and that dark power, if you're a journalist, it can be a very dangerous place indeed.
They were asleep in their own beds, and somebody piled rubber tires out the back of the house and set them alight.
These are 5 car bombs within the space of a year, and nothing was done about it.
I was shaking. It was a mixture of anger and fear.
From iHeart Podcasts, Topic Studios, and Vespucci, this is Crooks Everywhere. My name is Manuel Delia, former political operative turned journalist.
I'm John Sweeney, a former BBC journalist and investigative reporter. Together, we unravel the web of deception, exposing the dangerous play in Malta.
Crooks Everywhere.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Texas Longhorns. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Flying down to Houston with forgetting her the nature of my flight. As we taxi toward the runway, with the smoke and haze reminding me of how I feel. Just a country boy who's learning that the pitfalls of the city are extremely real.
It is a Texan Tuesday here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. As we mentioned, 3 o'clock hour. One of the rejoiners is always from the iconic Willie Nelson, this particular selection.
Bloody Mary morning.
There's been enough folks who have had enough of those over the year. I won't say that is the case of our next guest, because I don't know that he actually even fancies Bloody Marys. No, my good friend Greg Tepper, he can sit back and have an old fashioned with you. I'll grant him that. He and I have enjoyed a single malt scotch on occasion as well. And if we're hearing from Willie Nelson on Texan Tuesday, here we are late July, which means it's time to start our seasonal edition of Tuesdays with Tepper. He's Greg Tepper. He's the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. Am I right about the Bloody Mary thing? You're not a Bloody Mary guy, are you? Or are you?
Look, I'm an equal opportunity imbiber. I won't turn it down. There are times, certain times where the time is right. I wouldn't say I seek it out all that much, but I'm not here to give anybody, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. You know what I mean?
Understand that. Okay. That's a very diplomatic answer. I like that. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. You didn't have one at coaching school the week before last, did you?
No, I didn't. There are plenty of other things, but not that. Plenty of other things. It was fun as always down there. It's a big fraternity party down there, and people having a good time. But that's also just the kickoff of football season. Everyone's in a good mood. That's the thing I like about coaching school, is that everybody's undefeated. Everybody's in a good mood. Hope springs eternal for almost everybody. Depending on how good these coaches are at sandbagging me and telling me, I don't know, we're going to be any good. But everyone's got a shot. Everyone's in a good mood, and that's what makes that a special event down there, because there's no bad times down there.
How about our old pal Joey McGuire, one of your cover guys here on this year's edition, coming into the hotel bar when you and I just had to be standing there with Ashley Pickle and the rest of your gang, just kind of just minding our own business, and him just coming up and bear hugging us from behind.
Yeah. That's a man who's jonesing for some high school football. I know he's got other things to do. He's got a job to do, but he's primarily just like high school football fan number one. And we got into that. And yeah, good to see him as always. He's that's one of the things that I think has really changed over the last, I would say, since my time here, and this was my 16th coaching school, is that now it was neat to see college coaches at coaching school, maybe when I started, and now it is mandatory. Like everyone is there, and not just for the FBS coaches panel that you so eloquently moderate, but also just because they want to be seen, they want to be around them. And I think that also kind of speaks to kind of the makeup right now of the college football coaches across the state of Texas. You've got, I think, 6 of them that played high school football in Texas, so they understand, from a recruiting perspective, it's good business to show up, plain and simple. And also, a lot of these guys have ties to the Texas high school football world, whether they played it or coached it or both. And that, I think, has made it a more robust event beyond just the high school football coaches that are in attendance.
Visiting with Greg Tepper, editor-in-chief, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. Is this officially the second year that you're officially titled editor-in-chief, or is it the third?
This is number 2. This is the second one. Last year was the first one. So this is, I guess I'm as used to it as I'm going to be.
I see, because I accidentally in the first hour at one point started to say managing editor, and I stopped. I went, no, it's editor-in-chief. I should have that down by now. But I said, I don't know if Tepper's got it completely down after 2 years.
No, I don't. I'll screw up my own title every once in a while, just because I'm used to. I was managing editor for 13 years, and then suddenly they just say, hey, we want to give you new business cards, and okay, well, that's fine. I can't promise I'm going to be 100% on it. My wife still calls me the same thing, but that's not suitable for air.
Right. I understand that. Okay. One thing the magazine, I think, can take some pride in every year is that, in addition to you've kept it to the 400-page edition, but in addition to that, you always find a new wrinkle in how you put out the magazine. And this year, the new wrinkle is not a coach, not even a coach from Texas Tech on the cover. That's happened several times. Not that, but the fact that you have the administrators of how it all operates, as you say, inside the modern college football machine. It's the first time I can ever remember a prominent donor being on the cover, as well as an athletic director and a program builder as well, and the head coach. What went into the mindset of that, and how much breath holding was there just prior to the magazine's release when all the Sorsby stuff was being sorted out?
Yeah. First of all, you're right. By putting James Blanchard and Kirby Hocutt and Cody Campbell on the cover, they are the first 3 non-player, non-coach to be on the cover. Now, James Blanchard is a coach, but as far as in his role is concerned, guys who are not on field, these are the first three people who aren't on the field that we've ever featured. We knew back in about February that we wanted to feature Texas Tech. We went through a number of different options. Houston was a real consideration for us of what Willie Fritz is building there. Texas State as well with their move to the Pac-12. But we decided on Texas Tech, and we're saying, okay, the story's been told before. Like, we know the story of Texas Tech. How do we tell it in a different way? And basically, what we want to do is just like get inside and figure out how the guts of this machine work, because that's what they've built. What they've built out there is a program and an operation in which everyone's pulling the rope in the same direction. And there's the word that you will see in this story, and you'll hear all about Tech, is alignment. Everyone is aligned on what they want to do. Because they're not the richest program in America. They're not the richest program in Texas, but they are the program that I think has the best alignment as far as all of their pieces are concerned. And so to tell that story, we had to include all of the pieces. And obviously Joey McGuire is a key part of that. But then also James Blanchard, the general manager, he's a key part of it. Obviously Kirby Hoka, because he's the guy who has to sign off on everything. Obviously Cody Campbell, a guy who is in many respects kind of a new face of the program, for better or for worse, for the boys in Lubbock. Now, to your other question, that's Ben Roberts on the cover, linebacker, pride of, I think, Byron Nelson. I think he's a Byron Nelson boy. And we did I've said this before, we did a cover shoot with Brennan Sorsby. We have photos of Brennan Sorsby in the 2026 uniform. They are now really fun, a nice bit of trivia. We got the word, obviously, of what was going down, and we said, all right, time to pivot. And so we went to Ben Roberts and did a photo shoot with him. The thing that I think is most interesting, and probably why we, quite frankly, lucked out, is the Sorsby news. When he first was announced that he was removed from the team and he was going into treatment, we made the decision we need to pivot away from Sorsby altogether. So that came along at an okay time, that it was enough time between now and when we had this in the magazine press that we were able to change it. The other thing is that I think the player, with all due respect to Ben Roberts, who's an outstanding player, the Big 12 championship game defensive MVP, the player is kind of the least visible, least not important, because obviously they're very important, but least prominent, exactly, player or person in this story, because those guys change out, and they are pieces of the machine. By one guy for another, it didn't really change the story. The story is the same. This is how Texas Tech operates. The fact that we had to switch out the quarterback for the linebacker is something that gave me a little bit of gray hair, but also it didn't necessarily change the kind of idea of the story.
So let me see if I've got this straight. If none of that stuff had happened with Sorsby, and he was on track to be the Tech starting quarterback going in, and none of the other gambling stuff had come down, would it have been him with the other three on the cover, or would it have just been Sorsby?
It would have been the exact same cover, the exact same cover, just replace. We have very cool action shots of Brendan Sorsby dropping back to pass. It would have been him instead of Ben Roberts leaping up for an interception. That's the only change it would have been. This is the concept we had, and then we ended up having to make a late substitution there. So it would have been the same idea. We were always going to have those four gentlemen at the top on it. Ben Roberts was just the lucky recipient of a second chance here.
Well, you know how I am about that, Tep. I think all things lead back to the Beatles. If it had happened and you'd gone to print with Sorsby on the cover, it could have been like the Beatles Yesterday and Today butcher cover in 1966 with the decapitated baby dolls and the hacked up pieces of meat in butcher smocks, and then they quickly steamed a cover on of them all sitting serenely and neatly dressed in front of steamer trunks, and people started peeling off the cover. You could add yourself a Beetle Butcher cover if the news on Sorsby had been another month, 2 months later.
We were close. I mean, it was probably about 5 weeks out from us sending the magazine to press is that we had to scramble. I mean, look, there does come a point, and I write about this in my letter from the editor. There comes a point where the buzzer goes off, and it's just like, all right, anything that goes past this date is just kind of out there. And we've had things that have happened before where things have changed, guys have transferred, guys have got injured, before the season gets hurt. And they're listed in the magazine. There's one, for example, in the high school ranks, John Meredith III, or John Meredith, the outstanding defensive back, who he's on our super team. Nothing we can do. We figured he was going to be a part of the Texas high school football world. He's now reclassified. That's just the nature of the beast. That's kind of the nature of print media. The buzzer has to go off at some point. We're just happy that we were able to make on our most visible portion thing we put out every year. We're just happy we had enough time to make that change.
Well, I can tell you this: Longhorn fans are happy that he's down here. So and speaking of them, after all is said and done, and really nice things written about Texas Tech in your power poll, you still have Texas at the top of the list, with Texas A&M second and Texas Tech third.
Listen, I mean, being on the cover is great, and we think and Joey McGuire was very happy we were there, and also, we look at Texas as the team to beat in the state of Texas, and one of the teams to beat across the nation. This team is absolutely loaded for bear, and especially with a second year with Arch Manning at the helm, especially with, in our estimation, a revamped offensive line, which feels really, really big for this team. And then a lot of the pieces that they've got. This is a team that's ready for prime time. We think that they have an opportunity to win it all. They're on that short list of teams across the nation that have legit aspirations for a national championship. And the roster speaks for itself. They've got to go out there and they got to perform, right? I mean, last year we were saying some similar things about this program. It didn't live up to the expectations then, but this year we like the pieces. The pieces are really, really strong for Steve Sarkisian's squad. They just got to go out there and do it in a difficult league with a difficult schedule. But we think that they've got the goods, plain and simple. And as good as Texas Tech's going to be, and we think they've got a great opportunity to win the Big 12. Right now, stack them up on the field. Texas would be our pick for the best pound for pound team in the state.
Greg Tepper, editor-in-chief, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. Here's a question I've never asked you before. And by the way, nice gatefold cover photo. I guess it should point out for one of the best running backs in all of Texas, in Landon Williams-Callis, who, by the way, that's going to be pretty interesting, isn't it, in 5AD1, with Randall moving to 5AD1 now these days, even though they've had those two great slugfests with South Oak Cliff, which makes Sock, I guess, the obvious choice to defend the title in 5AD2, but it puts them right in the list of contenders for 5A. I say contenders because DeSoto drops from 6A, and it's an entirely different kettle of fish. I'll get back to that in a moment. What I wanted to ask you about was, this is a question I never asked you before. How does it go about it? And you, of course, being the editor-in-chief, probably have the largest say in this, in who writes what previews. College, I know Mike Craven's one of the best in college football. Carter Yates, outstanding young talent in your high school stable. I got to see several of your crew there when we were there in the aforementioned watering hole Saturday night meeting. But how was it decided? I guess maybe the who is you, but how was it decided who writes the previews on which sections, which classifications for high school, Division I, Division II, FCS, in the college ranks? How does that all meet out for you?
Yeah, so ultimately, a lot of that is just my job. My job is just we've got, I've got a bunch of spreadsheets of all the different features, all the different things that have to get written. And then it's my job to kind of assign those out to various people. Now, we will have guys there's some things that are obvious fits, right? We know that, Mike Craven on the FBS ranks he's got it covered, and we know he's going to write most. There may be one or two that we shift over to Carter just from a workload perspective, but for Mike, we know that he's going to have a lot of that covered. At that point, we kind of in the high school ranks is where things get interesting. The high school previews, I think we've talked about. We do have a great number of contributors from various parts of the state who know their part of the state very well. Jack Stallard writes our East Texas capsules, right? We've got David Hinojosa down in San Antonio who does a great job, right? The features in the high school ranks are interesting too, because a lot of that will fall on Carter and I, and we will just kind of jockey for position. There's some negotiating here. If Carter really wants to write the 4A cover boy story, then yeah, we can talk about that. We can see if he has that. A lot of it is just managing workload, because when it's all put together in a magazine, I know it feels like a lot there. It's a ton to keep in your head, and a ton of work, to put all those things together. Mike Craven was talking about how I think he wrote 170,000 words or something for this magazine. It's crazy. He's basically writing a book every time. And so I want to make sure we're managing workloads, and because we got to make sure we have enough time on the back end to edit it, to get it laid out and things like that. So a lot of it just comes down to, hey, I think your plate is full. We'll go and move some things around. A lot of it, there's some jockeying for position though. There's some people who will call for the ball for certain things. And I know Carter Yates, for example, was very, very adamant. He wanted to write the Prairie View A&M section because Tremaine Jackson is one of the best interviews in Texas. And so he went to Mike and says, hey, he's got to tap his chest and be like, let me grab this one. So there's a little bit of that goes on as well.
And let's be honest, nobody was going to write the 6-man preview but you. Nobody, because you and I are freakazoids enough about 6-man football, and the 1A 6-man deal was going to be your baby come hell or high water, right?
Yeah, I was going to do 6-man. That's just me. I want to do it. I want to take care of it. I want to allow, because you have to get in a different mindset. That's a different kind of, you have to shift in a different way to think about the 6-man football. And especially I would say this year, in a realignment year where there is so many moving parts and so much change in the 1A ranks, that I was like, hey, I'm going to take care of this. You guys got a lot on your plate. I don't want you to have to shift your brain and think about things in a different way and allow things to slip through the cracks. I'll just take care of it. I will, go into 6-man mode for a week to write this thing. And yeah, because there are so many moving parts in the 6-man ranks.
With that, let's jump in, because you and I do this every year in the run up to the season. We take a different classification or two in a given week. So since we're just a little over a month out, coming up on a month out, I'm going to get your thoughts on 1A, 6-man, the two divisions of that, and 2A today. And then next week we'll do 3A, and then the following week 4A, and so on and so forth. But let's start with 1A, where in 1A was 6-man, for folks who don't know, that's the same thing, where you have a defending state champion in Gordon who's going to be hard to beat. And then you've got another state champion from a year ago, Jayton, who moved to Class A up to the Division I ranks this year.
I'm just telling you that for the smallest classification, this is the classification with the most drama. There's a ton going on here because you've got 1A Division II where things are like you're already needing a new champion, right? Jayton moves up. And that's going to be hard enough to kind of project. Then you add in all of the movement of what happened. Like, for example, in our preseason rankings, we were going to have Benjamin as the number 1 team in the state. Well, then suddenly Keegan Hayes, his dad, the best player in 6-man football in my estimation, our cover boy, his dad gets hired at Gordon, as the basketball coach. So he moves over to Gordon. They make a change. Then we're thinking, okay, the number 2 team in the state was going to be Richland Springs. Well, Richland Springs, suddenly Cohen Etheridge moves to Menard, and now they've got to move. And when we're talking about one player, as you know, Craig, in the 6-man ranks, and especially 1A Division II, the smallest classification, losing like one player can be enormous. And so we end up going with Cherokee kind of by attrition, they end up to start the year as the number one team. 1A Division 2 is going to be wild. And then you go to 1A Division 1, which is kind of hard to parse for a different way. You've got a ton of really good teams. Teams like Rankin, which played for the state championship a year ago, Union Hill, which might be the best team from out east we've seen in quite some time. They're going to be really, really good. EJ Mowry's fantastic. Then you've got both state champions there. Jayton moving up from Division 2 after winning back-to-back state championships. And then Gordon, who is an ultimate mystery box, because on one side, they were by far, in my opinion, the best pound-for-pound team in Texas last year. Like, in any classification, line it up, they're the best pound-for-pound team. They were so much better than everybody else. Okay, this year, they graduate everybody. Literally everybody. They bring back 0 starters from last year's team. But then they bring in Keegan Hayes, who's the best player in my estimation in six-man football. They are hard to read. It's a strange situation. We went with Rankin to start the year, but again, six-man football, this is the year to really sink your teeth into, because there was just so much drama and so much unknown here that it wouldn't be a surprise if we had some party crashers kind of come out of nowhere.
I would submit to you that in no other classification has the drama around coaching involved more so than the six-man level. For folks who say, wait a minute, what did you say about the coach at Benjamin? He's now Gordon, but Mike Reed's the head coach. Yes, Mike Reed is the head football coach there. But now you got Nathan Hayes, who's going to be the basketball coach there. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he'll be a part of the football staff, but we've seen weird things like that in Benjamin, Strawn, and other places where a prominent head coach winds up being an assistant coach on a state contending team.
There, like, for all of the drama about like the John Merediths of the world and the 6A ranks, man, it's got nothing on 6-man, because I think because the players have such a big role, because literally just the math, you're 1/6 of the team on the field instead of 1/11. It is wild, and you're exactly right. If you're a coach's kid, and then suddenly, and you're really good at football, your dad is going to get some job offers. Plain and simple, because that is the most elegant way to get a guy onto your team. And to be very clear, I've talked with Mike Reed. He and Nathan Hayes go back years and years and have wanted to work together for a long time. It just so happened that this was the right time for them. They needed a basketball coach anyway, and so it works out in that regard. But yeah, there is so much movement and so many kind of intricacies in the 6-man game that then when the music stops there and football season gets going, you kind of have to take a couple weeks to see, okay, who's got what and exactly how are they going to stack up.
2A in Division 1, Munster moving from 2A Division 2 to 2A Division 1. And then you have a bevy of contenders there, and you have, again, the thing where you had the 2 state champs both in 2AD1 and then 2AD2 wide open. Is it very similar to 1A?
Yeah, I think so. And again, you've got 2 classifications without a defending champion, at least for their own classification. 2A Division 2 with Munster moving up really opens things up. And especially, I want to draw your attention to Region 1, where there's a ton of drama. You've got Stratford, who's going to be really good. Groover is going to be really good in the same district. You have Stinnett West Texas, who was a 2A Division 1 state semifinalist, dropping down into District 1. That's going to be fun. And then you've got the drama of what's going on with Stratford and Ropes, because Chase Lantelme, who was, in my estimation, Stratford's best player, their quarterback, transferred to Ropes in the offseason, which is going to give them a huge boost. That's not even to mention our number 1 team, which is the Bremont Tigers. We really like what Jeff Kozowski's squad has this year. I'm excited to see what happens. Again, Munster has been, in many respects, Munster and Shiner, both moving up, have been such dominant forces there that now that with both of them gone, it kind of makes this vacuum in 2A Division 2, which is going to be fascinating to watch there in the smallest 11-man classification. 2A Division 1 is absolutely fascinating for a variety of reasons. One of them is Again, Region 4 really got reloaded. You've got Ganado, our number one team, plus Shiner, plus Refugio. We're interested to see what they look like. We've heard that they may be on a downswing here. Kennedy, I think it's going to be really good. You add in a kind of a sleeper like Rosebud Lot. And then you have what can only be described as the most remarkable makeover of a region in recent history. Because in the last alignment, Region 2 of 2A Division 1 was just kind of like a who's that of Texas high school football. Hamilton ended up becoming a dominant power out of there, but it was like Hamilton and Axtell and Italy and just like a handful of these teams that you just don't really know. And it's like the UIL heard us talking about it, and they're like, all right, watch this. What if we cram in Cisco? We'll move them over from Region 1. We'll move Mason over from Region 4. We'll drop a defending state champ, two-time defending state champion Munster in there as well. And by the way, Hawley, we're going to move them into Region 2 as well. And so now Region 2 has gone from a real mystery box, someone's got to win it, Region 2, the must-see region in 2A Division 1, and a game where a region where second round of the playoffs, we're gonna have legit state-ranked teams going at it. It was once you going through 2A in realignment, it was such a, especially D1, it was such an overthrow of last year's alignment that it makes for a ton of new storylines heading into 26.
And yet, for all that, Ganado's your pick to win 2A D1.
Going to be really good. I mean, they're going to be really good. This is a team that, remember, they won the title back in 2024. Last year, they were super young, really, really young, and still made it to Thanksgiving weekend. They made it to Thanksgiving weekend. They graduate a grand total of 2 players. 2. Bring back 18 starters total from last year's team. It is they're going to be really, really good. They'll have a challenge within their own district in Shiner, who moves up from 2A Division 2. But I think that Ganado is our early favorite to win it.
All right, we're off and running with Tuesdays with Tepper. By the way, Monday, Tep, of next week is when we start giving away copies of your outstanding publication, 1 per hour for 3 weeks. We're going to do. So we're going to do that as well. And for those who don't win one, it's available in all the usual places, right?
You can go to your local grocery store, Walmart, wherever you buy, Barnes & Noble is really good. You can also go to texasfootball.com and subscribe, or you can go to our store and we'll just mail you a magazine if you go to our store on texasfootball.com.
Hey, great to get it off and running. Appreciate the time as always, Tep. We'll do it again next Tuesday.
Looking forward to it, my friend.
All right. That's Greg Tepper, Editor-in-Chief, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. We have more coming up here on 1300 The Zone.
Austin, we have a little announcement.
Which sounds serious, but don't worry. No one's asking you to merge on I-35.
JB and Sandy are back.
It's been a while, and we've got a lot to catch up on.
What we've been doing, what Austin's been doing, and why everything now costs at least $12.
We live here, we love it here, and this is the city we know best.
Wake up with JB and Sandy every morning from 6 to 10.
On 98.1 KBET, Austin's all-time country favorites.
98.1 KBET and iHeart Country Station.
Available everywhere on the free iHeart Radio app.
Guaranteed human.
With the heat of summer upon us and baseball being the primary pro sport being contested, thoughts have begun to turn to preparations for the coming football season, especially the college and NFL games that'll be hitting us full blast before too long. Are you happy with how your entertainment system is going to present all of this to you? If not, give my friend Tom McKay at Audio Visual Consultations a call. You've heard me tell you what experts Tom and his staff are when it comes to home entertainment. But AV Consultations has expanded to become dealers and custom installers of Foresight golf simulators. So if you're wanting to improve your golf game, AV can get you hooked up with a Foresight simulator that can do the trick. AV Consultations now also offers full home and landscape lighting and automated lighting control. Give Tom McKay and his staff a call today, 512-255-8678. That's 512-255-8678, or you can find them on the web at avconsultations.com. Let Tom McKay and Audio Visual Consultations help you realize the home entertainment system of your dreams.
Booking.com is the easiest way from a day surrounded by noise to a stay surrounded by nature. That's nice. Go on, book it. It's easy. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Progressive provides protection for your boat and other outdoor vehicles so you can explore new things.
Oh, I can finally try pesto.
We meant like water skiing.
I've just never had pesto.
Or maybe take the boat somewhere new.
I mean, is pesto spicy or sweet? Oh, guess we'll find out, right?
Right. Bundle home or auto insurance with your boat, RV, or motorcycle and stay protected with Progressive while you explore.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not ready for pesto.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is a new podcast where secrets come out, emotions run high, and no topic is off limits. Brought to you by AirTasker. Whether it's a task that just popped up or you've been putting it off for weeks, local taskers are ready to help. Listen to Therapy Thursday with Ellen K now on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
In this edition of the Marketers Report, Heather Sparks, head of content at Zenith, discusses the power of radio hosts.
I actually think DJs were the original influencers. You invited them into your home. You invited them into your ear. You built a relationship with them. You understood and trusted the things that were interesting to them.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
I'm U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. We all get distracted when we drive, whether it's from our phones or kids in the backseat bickering. But how we handle these distractions can be a matter of life or death. Before you get on the road for your next road trip, please put your phones on silent and take a mental note to focus on driving.
Paid for by NHTSA.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil. One simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to Metamucil.com for more details.
AM 1300 The Zone occasionally holds contests. For more information about contests on this station, go to am1300thezone.com/rules.
What's up, fam? I'm sports journalist Ari Chambers.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Sam J.
And we're the hosts of Everyone Watches Women's Sports, a new podcast from Together and iHeart Women's Sports.
We're breaking down the biggest headlines.
Naomi Osaka showing out.
Shout out to you, Naomi.
The viral moments.
I've been obsessed with Krishan Rock's boxing journey. She looks good. Her combos are swift.
And the stories everyone's talking about across women's sports.
Because everyone watches women's sports.
Open your free iHeartRadio app
and search Everyone Watches Women's Sports and listen now.
Coach Sark here. Back to the Craig Way Show on your home for the Longhorns, 1300 The Zone.
It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Don't you know I have come a long, long way? I've been longing to see her when she's around. She take my blues away. Sweet Maria, the sunlight surely hurts my eyes. I'm a lonely dreamer on a highway in disguise.
Before there was Brooks and Dunn, there was B.W. Stevenson, the original recording of My Maria from 1973. Louis Charles B.W. Stevenson, he went by Buckwheat Stevenson in his early days, but just went by B.W. later. Dallas native, went to Adamson High School with other musicians, Michael Martin Murphy, Ray Wiley Hubbard, and Larry Gross. He was there in high school at Adamson, which was the original Oak Cliff High School back in the 20s in Dallas, and then became W.H. Adamson High School later on that. He performed and recorded the intended pilot on October 13, 1974, but the recording quality was deemed too poor to broadcast. So Willie Nelson's performance taped the following night was aired as the first ever episode of the program. He was supposed to do the first one, but the taping was so poor, they said. So, but BW,
they didn't mean that as an insult, though, right? It had to do with audio quality.
Yeah, the quality of the video of that, and so that's why. Passed away in 1988. Had a heart valve issue there, but he did the original version there. That and like I said, is a native Texan, so part of Texan Tuesday. Our thanks again to Greg Tepper, the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. On the text line, C-Pal, you asked about TAP 6-man. It's all in there. We just didn't, between having to get the 6-man and the Class A, the 2A, two divisions of each previewed there for today. We didn't have time to get into the TAP's 6-man, private school 6-man, but it is all in the magazine. It's got detailed breakdowns of every division of public and private schools in there, a preview of the coming season. And like next week, we had to do the 2A and 1A today. Next week, we'll do 3A, the following week 4A, then 5A, then 6A, leading up to, and our 6A preview will come during season opening week of high school football in Texas. So we'll do that in addition to talking about the college football as we were, and the thought process behind the selection for the cover that they had with your general manager of a college football program, your prominent donor, your athletic director, your head coach, and then one key returning player on that was what they decided to go with Texas Tech. All right, we'll be back to wrap up hour number 2 here on 1300 The Zone.
Baseball season is here, and the Round Rock Express are ready to take the field. Hear all the action right here on 1300 The Zone. Whether you're at home or on the road, stay connected with Round Rock Express Baseball live on 1300 The Zone.
Hey, it's Hannah from Central Texas #1 sports bar, Rowdy Cowboy. If you love the Longhorns as much as Rowdy does, you will have to watch all the action on our 69 big screen TVs while enjoying ice-cold beer, craft cocktails, and our Texas-sized menu. And check out our Monday and Friday steak specials. So saddle up and head to Rowdy Cowboy, located off I-35 in Round Rock. Let's get rowdy. Visit us at Go Rowdy Cowboy.
Truck shopping just got easier because Covert Ford Hutto is now open on Saturdays. And right now, you can save $10,744 on a new 2026 Ford F-150 STX. Whether you're headed to work, the lake, or a Longhorns game day, the F-150 has the power and capability to get you there. Stop by Covert Ford Hutto this Saturday and drive home these incredible savings. It's a Covert deal. That's Covert Ford Hutto, right off of 79 in Hutto. CovertFordHutto.com.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this rush hour ad to keep you calm, which could help your driving. And science says therapy is great for a healthy mindset. So enjoy this 14-second session on us. I think you've done everything right and absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, anything that hasn't gone your way could probably be blamed on your father not being emotionally available because his father wasn't emotionally available, and so on. And now that you're calm and healing, you're probably driving better too.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 512-546-3415 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. Call 512-546-3415 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 512-546-3415 for fast, easy, and affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinic treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 512-546-3415.
My Lowe's Pro Rewards members, save big during Lowe's Pro Savings Days. Get your member volume discount plus an extra 5% off eligible orders with a quote of $2,000 or more. And buy more and save more with up to 20% off in-stock molding when you spend $250 or more. Members get more at Lowe's. Valid through 7/31. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Can't be combined with any contract or special pricing. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
I scream. You scream. We all scream.
Because Wendy's famous small classic Frosty is just $1 for a limited time. More screaming, happy screaming, summer screaming, dollar small classic Frosty screaming! But please don't scream in the drive-thru. It hurts the employees' ears. Get a $1 small classic Frosty for a limited time, only at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. A la carte only, not valid for delivery. Limit 10 per transaction. Price may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Progressive Insurance makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
A quiet residential neighborhood erupts in chaos. Carmine Galante, the feared boss of the Bonanno crime family, lies dead, his cigar still clutched between his teeth.
Masked men walked into Joe and Mary's luncheonette in Brooklyn today and gunned down Carmine Galante, a man believed to be the most powerful mafia chieftain in the country.
The execution sent shockwaves through the criminal underworld and set the stage for one of the most pivotal criminal cases in New York City history. From the minds behind the acclaimed television series comes Law and Order: Criminal Justice System. This isn't a scripted drama. These are real stories told by the people who have lived them.
My father should have been a dead man.
For decades, the mafia had New York City in a stranglehold, with law enforcement seemingly powerless to intervene. But the murder of Carmine Galante marked the beginning of the end. Discover how a group of young prosecutors took on the mafia, and with the help of law enforcement, brought down its most powerful figures. I'm Anasika Nicolazzi, and from Wolf Entertainment and iHeart Podcasts, this is Law and Order: Criminal Justice System.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. We cover all 40 acres.
All right, we have one more hour of the program to go. We'll get to more of your questions as well. And also, Gene Watson will join us to talk Major League Baseball. We're inside a week to the trade deadline. We'll get to that as well. And we'll find out who's serious about some of this. Who are buyers, sellers, or others, or is this going to go down to the last day? Not just in trying to craft a deal, but even to deciding if they are in contention, if they are a buyer or a seller. Got a feeling that Jake Nash and fall into that category. We'll see. One more hour of the show to come up on 1300 The Zone.
Bubba Wallace here from 2311 Racing. On the track, my car's look is everything. But today, I'm talking about more than just paint schemes. I'm talking about my favorite games at Chumba Casino. Check out exclusives like Stampede Fury and my own King Croc Fury. It's just as wild as my car look in Texas. With over 200 games and new ones weekly, play for free at ChumbaCasino.com. Let's Chumba.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. Please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop. This message furnished by the station.
Remember when everyone was creating those LeBron tribute songs? Now it's your time to shine. Create your own with Smile Tunes. Honor your favorite player, team, or your Little League star with a custom song from Smile Tunes. Visit SmileTunes.com and create your own anthem today.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $3 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they helped me. They calmed me down. They made me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
What if we told you Matt Damon was screaming on set to get his voice weather warned for The Odyssey? From the TikTok Podcast Network, Raiders of the Lost Podcast has the whole story about the biggest movies of the summer. Download the iHeartRadio app and search Raiders of the Lost Podcast now.
This is KVET AM Austin, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, an iHeart radio station, and your home for the Horns. Guaranteed human. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Third and final hour of the program here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. Thanks again to Greg Tepper, editor-in-chief, Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, joining us. And again, a reminder, starting next Monday, 1 per hour, we will give away a copy of the Bible of football in Texas. Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, with all its previews of college and high school football across the Lone Star State, will give away 1 copy per hour on the show for 3 consecutive weeks. We'll do it in the 2 o'clock hour, the 3 o'clock hour, and the 4 o'clock hour. Now, to win a copy, you're going to have to get yourself familiar with our TalkBack feature, the TalkBack microphone that you access via the iHeartRadio app. And the way that works is you just download the iHeartRadio app onto your smartphone. Could be either iPhone or Android. It's very easy to do, very simple, and it's also free. So you get it downloaded. Then once you have it downloaded, you pop it up and you do a search, and you'll, search magnifying glass or search window, search bar, whatever. In the search area, you would put in AM 1300 The Zone. It'll pop right up. And when it does, you're going to see 2 buttons. One's a little white one, triangular shape. That's just if you want to listen to what's going on in the air. But for the purposes of the contest, or if you just want to contribute with your thoughts or questions or comments to the show, you hit that other button. It's a red button with a little white microphone. You press that button, you leave us a voice message of 30 seconds, no more than 30. Doesn't have to be 30, but no longer than 30, you'll get cut off. Leave us a voice message on that. That's the TalkBack feature. And the way we'll do it with the magazine giveaway is the way we do it every year. There'll be some days where I'll toss out a trivia question. And it won't be, brutally hard or something, but and you'll have to answer via the talkback, not on our text line, on the talkback in order to do it. Or it might just be, hey, whoever happens to be the fourth person responding on the talkback is going to get a copy of it. There'll be different ways because, like I said, we have 3 weeks worth of the magazine to give away. So we'll do that coming up as well. The producer of the program is Jake Herman. He's also the play-by-play voice of the Bastrop Bears. So you were getting a little more familiarized with 5AD2 and the season to come for the Bears, who went, 3 rounds deep in the playoffs last year?
3 rounds deep, lost to Randall at Prairie View A&M in a rain-soaked third-round matchup. Rain-soaked
Was that the game when
semi.
Randall scored like 80 points or 82, something like that?
It got a little ugly at the end. I believe it was something like 83-21.
Yeah. And Randall was really good. You saw Landon Williams-Callis on your own, the running back.
There were questions about whether he was going to play in that game, and boy, did he ever play.
Yeah, he is, by the way, on the gatefold cover, the inside cover of the magazine as well, as perhaps the top running back in the state. And his team, Richmond Randall, was a defending state champion. They got back to the finals where they lost to the team they had beaten the year before, South Oak Cliff. South Oak Cliff is the preseason choice to win 5A Division II this year on that, because if no other reason, Richmond Randall moved to 5A D1. Now, having said that, the favorite in 5A Division I is going to be the team that won the 6A Division II state championship, DeSoto. They're that good, and they dropped in classification. They've been winning state titles with 5A numbers. That's how scary that is. And so they'll be in 5A D1. They're going to be very, very difficult to beat. But anyway, we will give away copies of that magazine starting next Monday for 3 straight weeks. 1 copy per hour we'll give away through the iHeartRadio app and the talkback feature. A couple of items before we get to the break and then talk baseball with Gene Watson. This was one thing you and I were talking about during one of the break. Notre Dame has announced they're adding jersey patches. SoFi is going to be stitched into every football jersey for Notre Dame and every athletic jersey, football, basketball, baseball, whatever, in all the sports. So they got it's a 6-year deal valued by industry experts in the 9-figure range, the totality of the deal. What did you say it was? Something like $20 million per year?
They're saying $18 to $20 million. Unbelievable.
For the school per year. Whereas, what did you say? The Big 12 has a deal
with Monster Energy
for $20 million, but that's for the entire conference.
Yeah.
To split and divide among all 16 members, right?
Yeah, that looks a little low now compared to what Notre Dame has done here with SoFi, what Ohio State has done with Chase and JP Morgan. This is a 6-year long deal. Did you mention that already? So it's going to be around for a little bit.
Wow. All right. So there's that. And then one other thing I was going to mention. I happened to read about this on Sunday. Yep. This when this article first came out in MoneyWise. So I read them online. You know how I feel, and this is probably just a little much on my part. It's just how I am, a little much about the term influencer. I'm not fond of that term, as you know, because who decides who's an influencer and who isn't really? It seems like most of the people who are described as being influencers are people describing themselves as influencers.
Well, these days, Craig, social media just throws influencers on your feed no matter what. You can't avoid them. The algorithms are the influencers. The people are just there to, sell their products, build their brands.
So I get that. Even if to the extent, however, that Arizona State is launching a degree in how you can become an influencer. That's a bit much, I would say. But they're launching a degree that is going to be called, I want to make sure I read this right, Bachelor of Arts in Content Creation. Through, and this is the part that really just grates on me, It's through the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, the most respected broadcast journalist in world history. Walter Cronkite, who, by the way, lifetime Longhorn. He wasn't here but a year, but Kevin Durant was here for a year, right? Walter Cronkite was a student at Texas for a year.
Okay, class, welcome to day one, trends.
Yeah. So there's going to, Arizona State is offering a degree in creative content.
Day two, short form dances.
Now, let me tell you this. My youngest son, when he enrolled at Midwestern State University in Wichita Falls at the time, they had a degree program in it wasn't in creative content, but it was in digital media. So it was for the vast array of digital media, not just creative content. That changed because of the pandemic. A lot of the courses changed and got dropped. So he ended up changing his major and ended up going a different route to earn his degree. But it was to be, and at the time, they were the only school in Texas offering a degree plan in digital media. But that changed over time, and it's changed other places. But this is in content creation. You too can hold a degree in being an influencer. It can happen. All right.
I'm gonna sign you up for a class secretly.
Thank you. Appreciate that. One of the most influential people in baseball joins us next. That's Gene Watson, our MLB insider, when we continue on 1300 The Zone.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival,
presented by Capital One,
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena. Streaming live on Disney Plus and Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com.
Turn up the style with Burlington. Shop the brands you love and the looks you want without the high prices. From festival-ready fits to everyday favorites, it's never been easier to look good and save big. Burlington, where great style meets even better deals.
If you run a business and need to get your message to your next customers fast, nothing is faster than audio with iHeart. Let us help you grow your business at the speed of sound today at 844-844-iHeart.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
From the Lorenz and Lorenz Traffic Center.
We do have a 20-minute delay now, 35 northbound between Old Torf and MLK Junior Boulevard. There's slow traffic on Mopac southbound between 35th and Cesar Chavez, but it's under 5 minutes. 183 off lane, the off-ramp lane is partially blocked by a stalled vehicle. 183 southbound, it's your off-ramp to 290. I'm Kat Cortez with your Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by iHeartAdvertising.com.
Run a business and not thinking about podcasting? Think again. More Americans listen to podcasts than ad-supported streaming music from Spotify and Pandora. And as the #1 podcaster, iHeart's twice as large as the next two combined. Learn how podcasting can help your business at iHeartAdvertising.com.
Now here's your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Jack. That's Jack. Enter it now.
The free iHeartRadio app is #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. Discover a new podcast from our library of over 350,000 titles. Here's an iHeartRadio podcast preview.
Russ Faria was charged with a crime that he swore he did not commit.
No, I did not do this. I do not know how this happened. I did not do this. I was not involved with it.
Just after Christmas, Troy, Missouri, 2011.
The jury was left with no alternative, and in most people's words, the husband did it. Who else would have?
The prosecutor said it was rage, greed. We wouldn't be here if the answer was that easy.
In my opinion, an innocent man got charged with murder, and then it sort of snowballed from there.
I'm Keith Morrison. I've been a correspondent for Dateline NBC for 25 years. And in that time, I've never seen a story quite like this before. As we investigated this saga of murder, greed, lies, things became personal. What happens when a true crime show becomes part of the story? We could never have imagined.
I've worked on other cases that have twists and turns, but I've never worked on a case like this with so many twists and turns that were completely unpredictable.
From Dateline NBC, this is The Thing About Pam, the wild and unbelievable story of the murder of Betsy Faria.
I'd like to see this story conclude with justice. Betsy Faria has not received justice. Russ Faria has not received justice. Her family has not received justice.
And if we've learned anything in all the years we followed this story, anything is possible.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm Keith Morrison. The Thing About Pam, an all-new podcast from Dateline NBC. Subscribe now.
Listen and follow this podcast for free on the iHeartRadio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts all in one.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Horns. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Baby, all I got's this beat-up leather bag, and everything I own don't fill up half. But don't you worry about the way I pack. All I care about is getting back real soon. A goodbye kiss
Here on
is
a
all I
Texan
need from you.
Tuesday.
I'm
How
carrying
about
your
some
love with me.
George Strait for you, the King. Yeah. Your particular reason for this particular selection today?
Oh, we're coming back with one of George Strait's 50 number ones, Carrying Your Love With Me. And who knows, maybe some players who are going to be on the move in Major League Baseball in these next few days will feel this way about their ball clubs. Maybe they won't.
Okay. All right. Very good. I was wondering, I knew there had to be some meaning behind that. The man who can best speak to what's going on in baseball certainly is our friend, our MLB insider from the Chicago White Sox front office, Gene Watson, who joins us now, who, by the way, sports a cowboy hat better than just about anybody I know. I've seen you wearing the hat quite a bit lately. Do you, by regular practice, wear your big straw cowboy hat when you're just out watching a game, watching players?
100%. When I'm not in Chicago, most nights I have my cowboy hat on. I just got a brand new American hat, which is about $400. It's my favorite hat in the world. But the Dominican Republic, most amateur games, most minor league ballparks, I've got my cowboy hat on at all times.
I bet you they love you in the Dominican when you're sporting that beauty, huh?
Oh yeah, and it's funny because every September, when we get into felt season, the first person that says, "Hey, I really like your hat," I give it to them. And
Really?
last year it was the front desk lady in South Bend, Indiana. I was at a Notre Dame game, and she said, "Man, I love that hat." And when I gave it to her, she just couldn't believe it. And so it's kind of an annual tradition every September.
You know what else is a tradition? You're a big Notre Dame fan, as has been well established on the program. What did you think about the Fighting Irish announcement today? That deal with SoFi, the patches on the uniforms, $20 million a year, probably on a 6-year deal.
Yeah, huge news for the program. I mean, coming off losing the national championship game 2 years ago, and then the money that they were able to receive, being independent from those games. And then you tack on another $20 million a year in the patch deal. They're doing quite okay in the financials at Notre Dame right now.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I'm going to start off with a little bit of what we've done in the past, and that is to beat the dead horse about velo. But I'm taking it from a little bit different perspective because of an article by our mutual good friend, Tim Kirchin, who I've known since he was writing for the Dallas Morning News back in the 80s. Great guy, basically the senior baseball writer there for ESPN. And he wrote a piece today. There was a piece that came out today about why major league hitters are being hit by pitches more than ever. There was a game this season. It was on May 26th, one day, where 23 batters were hit in one day. Last year, there was a day where 29 was the highest of any single day in Major League history. And so he poses the question, says, why is this happening? Why are there fewer hits and more hit batters? And Bryce Harper said pitchers are hunting velo and spin over strikes. And I know we've had a lot of conversations about velo and spin. It may not be as simple as that, but that has something to do with it, right? With more emphasis on velocity these days and more guys getting hit by pitches.
100%. That would be number one. Number two would be the way that hitters train now. It's like you stand your ground in the box. There's no more moving in the box. And back in the day, you would have pitchers that would try to raise a hitter's hands, move their hips, move their feet. Bob Gibson, Don Drysdale, Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan. Those were guys that were historic in, making a hitter uncomfortable. Now, you've got so much body armor now. You got the armor on the ankle, the armor on the elbows, the armor on the shoulders that, you got the hand pad that hitters are less and less worried about getting hit by the pitch, get on base the best way you can. And when you have, pitchers that are chasing velocity and are chasing spin, you're going to have a lot more hit batsmen. So it's a combination of those three things for me.
Toward that end, as you point out in Kirchin's article, he said, logically, if a hitter isn't seeing as many pitches on the inside part of the plate, he's going to move closer to the plate so he can better cover the outside part. And hitters all over the game are diving across the plate to get to the ball that's tossed away from them. The more they dive across, the more likely they'll get hit. So some of it's just following the routine of what the pitcher's doing if he's trying to pitch them away, correct?
No question. And Yordano Ventura, Pedro Martinez, Roger Clemens, those are probably the last three guys that really were intentional about pitching hit. And I truly believe that as an organization, if you took the philosophy, we're going to pitch in, and the reputation of that gets in, I think that hitters would hit, they'd be a little bit more uncomfortable when they get in the box. But just the way that hitters train, the guard that they have and the chase for elite velocity has been the main culprit of all of it.
One more thing on this, and then we'll move on to games. But there was a fascinating quote that Kirchin had his article from the Mariners catcher, Mitch Garver. He said, quote, in talking about pitchers, we're asking guys to throw as hard as they can to a location they can't throw it to with a pitch they don't know how to throw. They're told, hey, a sinker would look good in your hand. And they take it into the game that night and it goes right into a hitter's hands, because that's the biggest concern, isn't it, for guys getting hit? We saw Junior Caminero get hit in the game, in the All-Star game. Fortunately, the X-rays were negative, but the biggest fear, other than getting hit in the head, and even that you're wearing a helmet, the biggest fear is getting hit in the hands in a digit that could break and put you on the injured list, isn't it?
No question. And in today's information, where there's so much information and data on the pitchers, like every pitcher is trying to come up with a little something new just to show hitters, and that's where hitters can get hurt. And even an instant in the last couple of weeks, I know of major league pitchers that have had bad outings, and they've taken their 3 or 4 pitch repertoire and turned it into 5 or 6 pitches just to give the hitters, even a small percentage of a different look for the sake of being able to work through a lineup twice. And so it's really all a combination of what's going on with this.
Talking baseball with Gene Watson here on 1300 The Zone. All right, let's jump into divisional outlook and looking at things. Last week we talked a lot about the Red Sox, and they won 18 of 20 now after they had their 15-game winning streak snapped. They're actually 5 above 500. They're 7 games back in the American League East. But they're in the number 2 wild card spot. The number 1 wild card spot is held down by the Yankees. Tampa Bay is still leading the American League East race by 2.5 games. is it sustainable for the Rays to win the East, or do you see the Yankees overtaking them, or even the Red Sox coming from way off the pace to catch them?
I think in the case of the Red Sox, what they've done is absolutely remarkable in the run that they've had. You know, they just traded away Conley early for Meade from Washington, who's going to give them some right-handed production. You know, in that ballpark, 51% pull rate with the Green Monster. It has a chance to impact that lineup a little bit, but he got hit this first game, and so who knows how long he's going to be out. The Yankees, I mean, just the health of the club is really, really concerning. Is Aaron Judge going to be back this year? Very questionable. Giancarlo Stanton, the injuries that they've taken to the rotation, getting everybody healthy, but how long will that sustain? Tampa, they just do it right, and they've got the system. If they want to push in and go get a frontline starter, they have the players in their minor league system to do so. And I think that it's going to be, they've got a chance to really pull away in this division if they do something at the deadline.
Interesting. Okay. In the Central, your ball club, the White Sox, continues to be the story of the year. 55-50 right now, a game and a half up. And we'll get more into trade deadline possibilities here in a minute. But in terms of the thinking, has it transitioned as far as you know? Do you have a feel for if your ball club has made that transition from what was a selling ball club in the past into being a buyer coming up before the trade deadline, or neither, standing pat?
So funny. Our scouting director told me this morning, he goes, I remember last year when the draft ended, or before the draft started, you said to me, have a great draft because we're going to be trading all of them next year because we're going to be built to win. And I don't even remember the conversation, but he brought it up to me. But yes, I mean, we build out our room board, and most of the time it's your major league players that you're going to be selling off with the prospects from other organizations. And that's in complete reverse this year. We have, you know, major league rentals, we have controllable major league players, you know, and just players, the targets that are going to help our major league team win in the second half. And you know, we've tried to inject energy into this ball club all year long at pivotal points, and it's worked to this point. So as the deadline approaches next week, we'll continue to examine, you know, where we're at and what makes sense as far as adding to the team. But the real problem right now is that, you know, there's still a lot of teams that don't know if they're buyers or sellers. You've got some teams that want to be buyers and sellers. And then you've got, you know, the Anaheim Angels that have arguably two of the best pitching targets on the board. And what's that acquisition cost going to be? Are they even really going to trade those guys? And so the starting pitching market, I think, will move slower. You've got Trevor Rogers, you've got Gausman, you've got Soriano, you've got Detmers, you've got the Mariners pitchers that could be available. So I think the starting pitching market is going to move a little bit slower, probably into Sunday night. And then you've got a number of rental relievers that are one-year guys that you have a chance to improve the underbelly of your bullpen with. So it's going to be really interesting, you know, who fires the first shot and steps out and says, you know, we're going to make a trade to help our team now, and then what the movement is from there.
Is it safe to say, and I know you're very close to AJ Hinch, that the Tigers still may have not yet decided whether they're buyers or sellers? They've dropped 3 in a row. They're 6 back in the division race, so they're not entirely out of the division race. In the wild card race, they're 4.5 back as well. And of course, everybody's talking about Skubal and whether the Tigers would be willing to give him up and do a big sale. Do you think they're still evaluating that part of it right now, whether or not they're still planning to buy or sell?
I really do. I think the players on these teams that are undecided understand what's online right now going into the weekend, and they understand that they have to play really well to get the front offices to believe that they're contenders. But the other thing is a team that wants a Reed Detmers, a Tarek Skubal, George Kirby, a Jose Soriano, like them stepping out and saying, okay, we're going to be aggressive and go get the player, could also factor in, because even a team that says, we're not going to trade this guy now, if the right team steps up and says, hey, here's the 4 players we'll do, I think you got a chance to have more activity than what you think with some of these frontline starters.
Well, I'm going to ask you about another team in a moment. But first, let's get your eval. The American League West Rangers just won that big series over the Mariners. It took 3 of 4 from Seattle. They won the season series from Seattle. Obviously, if that comes down, it may not mean anything, but if they wind up tied for the division title or a playoff spot, they have the tiebreaker there, and the Astros are 2 back, and the Mariners still just 2.5 back. You said last week you figured this thing's probably going to go all the way to the wire. How do you see it in the short term right now with the Rangers starting to get things together?
I think this is a big weekend for them in Tampa Bay. I think they've got to play really well against a team that's a division leader that's expected to make a deep run into the playoffs. And so I think that with limited resources financially, I think that they're going to look at it and say, we got to play really well this weekend and measure up. And if not, I think there's going to be some examination as to, potentially being buyers and sellers at the deadline.
Okay. All right. Visiting with Gene Watson here. All right. Let me jump to the National League. And in the East, one of those teams that you're talking about, I think, could be that would have to be included in that. Where do we stand with our evaluation would be the Nationals, because here's a team that's still in the thick of the fight of the wild card. But it's kind of seeped out that both James Wood and C.J. Abrams would be available perhaps, but you're probably talking about backing up the Brinks truck in terms of prospects to get them. How about your thoughts on the Nationals?
I think that's also going to depend on what the Angels do with Zach Neto. I think that if they decide to move Zach Neto, that's C.J. Abrams' market. What you have right now is everybody evaluating the starting pitching market, the reliever market, the shortstop market, the right-handed bat market, the catching market, and ranking those players out, and then just staying in touch with the clubs hourly to see where, I make about 15 calls every morning to clubs like, okay, where are we at right now with it? Well, we've got 14 teams in. If you want to shoot some names over, feel free. But we haven't decided with the direction we're going to go. So truthfully, it's going to be the teams that feel like, especially in the American League this year, where it is wide open. The National League, I think everybody kind of feels like it's the Dodgers and the Phillies, and those are the really good teams. In the American League, any team in the American League could be any other team in a 5 or 7 game series. And so the teams that are aggressive and want to step out and make some move with their prospects have a chance to get some big prizes at the deadline.
All right, let me ask you about 2 National League teams who may wind up being at least in the conversation with one another. I watched the Pirates come from behind win over the Diamondbacks last night. The Pirates right now are tied for 3rd with Arizona for that 3rd and final wild card spot. Nationals just 1 back out of that. Cardinals a game and a half back. Padres a game and a half back. Marlins 2 back. So this is probably a race that's going to go all the way to the wire, with the Cubs and Phillies right now holding down the top 2 spots as wild cards. But it has been brought up that in a game where it's kind of a standoff, that the Pirates, if they consider themselves a true contender, and they've got a good lineup, as you know, and they've got good starting pitching led, of course, by Skeens, but that the bullpen might be the real weak spot. Now, they got good effort out of the Leander product, Mason Montgomery, the last 2 nights, but that they might really be hunting a closer. Enter the Padres, who supposedly are right there on the cusp of whether they're buyers or sellers, and none other than Mason Miller's name has come up. Do you see a possibility where the Padres might decide, even as aggressive as A.J. Preller has been in the past, to decide, yes, we need to look toward the future, and Miller goes on the market, and then maybe a team like the Pirates goes after them?
I think what's going to determine that is, you have new ownership in San Diego, and I don't think there's been the transfer from the old to the new. And so you've got a collective philosophy on what you think the future should be. They sell out every night. You start selling out your players, it's going to affect your crowd down the stretch. And so I think AJ is really evaluating where they are. Do they really have a chance to beat the Dodgers the way they sit right now? Are there additions that they can make within their system with prospects to put the team up there with the Dodgers? And from the Pirates standpoint, I think you have to look at it. Okay, if we add Mason Miller, what does that do to us long term? Does it put us up there with the Dodgers and with the Phillies and with the Braves? Not sure that it does. So do we want to make the financial investment, both financially and with prospects, to do that? And so that's what both sides are going to be measuring down the stretch. But I think San Diego, with the transfer of ownership, it's going to be interesting to see what they decide collectively.
Would you think also that teams like the Pirates, and I'll put the Marlins in this category, two teams for whom even reaching the postseason is deemed a colossal improvement in the town, in the market, with their fan base, that might nudge them a little more than, say, a Cardinals or somebody else that has been a regular postseason participant that might not be as willing to make that push to go all in, even if it only means getting in as a wild card and then taking your chances once you get to the postseason?
I think you can add the Chicago White Sox to that list because every fan base is different. The pressure from the media, the want from the fan base, where ownership stands. I mean, Jerry Reinsdorf's 90 years old. We want to win for Jerry right now. There's no sense in waiting. What are we waiting for? And so I think that factors in severely into the approach you're going to take. But I still think you have to measure every target that you have on the board, and does it make sense to make that trade, to invest? You know, we've done a great job in the last 3 years of building up our minor league system through the draft and with international talent. Okay, how much do we want to invest for a potential, ALCS run at it? Do we really think we can get to the World Series? Do we have that kind of team? And everybody says just get in and anything can happen. I don't believe that. You gotta be super talented. You got to be playing extremely well, be very healthy, and you got to be your team's got to be clicking on all cylinders. I mean, look at the Dodgers last year and what it took for them to win their second World Championship. A ball getting hinged in a wall, a base running error, a home run by Miguel Rojas. I mean, three things that you would never think would happen for them to win the World Series. And so the get in and anything can happen philosophy doesn't fly with me. You gotta build your roster from the top down, the very best that you can. Be playing well at the end of September, stay healthy, and perform at your highest level in the biggest moment.
Let me ask you something. You've been in Chicago for a couple of years now, but you're well acquainted with the town, the structure, and how for decades and generations it's kind of been a Cubbies town, that sort of thing. Is the town getting behind the Southsiders now? Is it getting behind the White Sox?
Well, I'll tell you this. I for 3 years I've been here, and I will leave tickets for my family from time to time. I'm getting hit for 16 to 20 tickets a night right now in Chicago. Restaurant owners, family, friends flying in. I had 16 people fly in from Dallas, California, Nashville last night. They're all here today. So restaurant owners, hey, come see us play. Well, you never hear from them. And then all of a sudden you hear from all of them at once and you're leaving 20 tickets. So to say that the city is not on fire for both teams. And it's so funny. We were talking about this morning. I had breakfast with Jake Siriachi, who works for the Cubs. The fan bases are so completely different. That's what makes it so great, is just completely different fan bases, but both of them are great. It's well known that I'm a lifelong Cub fan, but to see this city on fire right now for baseball is really cool.
Hey, it's not lost on me, and probably not lost on the city of big shoulders there in the Windy City, that this year, Gino, this year is the 120th anniversary of the only time the Cubs and White Sox met one another in the World Series, and the major underdog, the White Sox, known as the Hitless Wonders, won that World Series over the heavily favored Cubs in 6 games. Can you imagine what that city would be like if the Cubs and White Sox met in the World Series?
We still have a series with them, so it's going to be interesting to see, how that series goes. This city is going to be on fire. Tickets are going to be crazy, and I'm going to have to tell all my family and friends no on that one.
Okay. Sounds like the Ohio State game for me down here. Hey, Gino, I appreciate the time as always. We'll look forward to doing it again next week, next Tuesday when we do it, Gino. We'll get your review of what happened and what didn't happen with the trade deadline. We'll look forward to that next Tuesday.
All right, Craig, looking forward to it. Take care. Thanks so much.
Gino. All right, that's Gene Watson from the Chicago White Sox front office. More coming up here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app. Hey there, Texas fans. This is the voice of the Longhorns, Craig Way, inviting you to join us for Longhorn football.
Touchdown! Texas wins!
We'll bring you all of the action all season long, including in-depth analysis and exclusive access to players and coaches before the opening kick and after the final whistle. And every week, we'll talk with Texas Longhorns head coach Steve Sarkisian on Longhorn Weekly. This is your exclusive source for Texas Longhorn football.
On 1300 The Zone. From the ABA Heating and Cooling Weather Center, this is Zone Weather.
Austin area weather calling for partly cloudy skies tonight, a low of 77. Mostly sunny tomorrow. We'll see a high of 100, another low of 77 for tomorrow night.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com or call 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
In this edition of the Marketers Report, Chris Epple, head of marketing for the Americas, Harman JBL, weighs in on the importance of audio.
It's been amazing over the last couple of years to see what's happened with audio. We've doubled our investment in the last 2 years in the audio space. We find it to be highly critical to our business.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
Progressive presents the Museum of You.
We begin our tour with a unique piece, a relic from the early big screen television era. Remarkable. Next, we find a juicer, which historians believe has only ever been used once. And finally, compact discs from the emo era. A rare find indeed.
Some things should be history, but until then, you could protect what's important to you and save by bundling your auto insurance with a renter's policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil. One simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to Metamucil.com for more details.
I'm U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. We all seem to be in a rush these days, from work to driving our kids around. But when you're behind the wheel, please do not speed. A few minutes saved by going faster is never worth the risk. So follow the speed limit, enjoy the drive, maybe bring some snacks for the kids, and know that along the way, you're getting quality time with your family.
Paid for by NHTSA. A lot of apps like to say they're free until they ask for your credit card. iHeartRadio is different. No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges. We make money from our advertisers, not from you. It's the same radio you've never paid for. Live radio stations, playlists, podcasts, and artist stations, all in one app. So if you haven't already, download the free iHeartRadio app. Free radio. Always has been, always will be. Now wherever you go.
iHeartRadio. iHeart is America's #1 podcast network. Open the free iHeart app and explore podcasts like this.
1971. It was a simpler time, a groovy time. Soul Train had just started chugging along. Everyone had a lava lamp for some reason. Weeble started to wobble, but as we all know, they don't fall down. It's really something. But it wasn't all Weebles and bell-bottoms. There was also the Vietnam War and a growing nationwide movement protesting it.
Look behind you. See the thousands marching today.
Across the country, people were speaking up, and the more they did, the more they learned about the hidden underbelly of the most powerful law enforcement agency in the land. I'm Ed Helms, host of Snafu, Season 2, Medberg, the story of a daring heist that exposed J. Edgar Hoover's epic FBI snafu. Hear the incredible true story that almost got buried.
I was told that it might not be published the next day or might not be published ever.
As told by the ordinary citizens who took extraordinary measures.
Getting caught was virtually inevitable.
To expose J. Edgar Hoover's secret FBI.
Many of the techniques were clearly illegal, but justified in the interest of national security.
If it meant some risks that were involved, well, that's what citizens sometimes have to do.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
It's the Morning Kickoff Show with Mike Hardball Harge and Mark Henry. Weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. Only on Sports Radio, AM 1300, The Zone. We're back. It's the Craig Way Show with Hall of Fame broadcaster and voice of the Texas Longhorns, Craig Way.
Picture yourself in a living room. Your pipe and slippers set out for you. I know you think that it ain't too far, but I hear a call of a lifetime ring. Felt the need to get up for it. Oh, you cut out the middleman. Get free from the middleman. You got no time for the messenger. Got no
Can't wait to hear Jake Herman's explanation of correlation with what we've been talking about with this particular Texan Tuesday return cut. What do you got here? I mean, I know the song, but
Spoon performed on the UT campus, who I got to see perform at Austin City Limits.
Very nice.
Awesome show. And you got no fear of the underdog. You won't survive, even if you're the Chicago Cubs of, 120 years ago.
Okay. All right. So there you go. By the way, and thanks again to Gene Watson joining us. Question on the text line. In 1994, would the Expos have won the World Series had there not been a strike? Would have been a good question to put to Gene. I'll put it to him next week, but I will tell you this. They had the best record in baseball at the strike. They were up 6 games on the Atlanta Braves in the East. I have no doubt in my mind that they would have had a great chance to win the World Series. Montreal, when you think of the players that they had on that team, having a Moises Alou, a Marquise Grissom, a Larry Walker on the offense. By the way, in Tampa last Thursday when we were down there for SEC Media Days, so Mike Hardball Harge and Cameron Parker and I went to dinner on Wednesday. On Thursday, Harge did not go to dinner with Cameron and I. We went to dinner with Noah Gross from KXN and some other people. The reason why I bring this up is Harge, who was in the Expos organization at that time, and had a very good friend who was up there as well. And they talked about one of their minor league teammates had been Cliff Floyd, who was just 21-year-old first baseman. And he wound up being 5th in the Rookie of the Year balloting that year. He hit .281 with 4 homers and 41 runs batted in 100 ball games. So that was part of the offense that they had. And they had Moises Alou hit .339 that year. Larry Walker hit .322, led the majors in doubles to that point at 44 doubles and 19 homers and 86 runs batted in. You had Rondell White, who was a good player, and you had some other guys as well. And then, how about this on the mound for the 1994 Montreal Expos? You had Pedro Martinez, who at the time, make sure I got his record right on this. Pedro was only 22 years of age, and his record at the time. Well, let's see. I want to make sure I'm looking at it right. Yeah, he was 11-5. Ken Hill was 16-5, and then you had Jeff Facero. You had John Wetland, who had 25 saves to that point in the season. So you had a tremendous starting staff and bullpen staff as well on the Montreal Expos. So do I think that they would have won? I know they certainly would have probably been the favorites. They were that good. But the strike took away the rest of that season. And then after that, they wound up just not having the fan support that they needed in the past. And they wind up now being Jake's team, the Washington Nationals.
Yeah, it's a real domino effect, Craig, and they explored that in the Expos documentary on Netflix that came out last year.
Yep.
And hearing the different perspectives on that was really cool. And I'm sure Hardball Harge has a bunch of his own.
No doubt about it. Let's hear one more piece of sound from Sean Miller, the Texas basketball head coach. Had a media availability today, and he was asked a question about multi-year eligibility and availability in this day and age of transient nature of college basketball student athletes.
Well, we have the ability to get those guys back. Doesn't mean they're going to come back. They have choices. The way our system is, it gives them a lot of freedom and flexibility to move. For example, they moved to us, right? But I do believe that the University of Texas, living in Austin, Texas, playing in the Southeastern Conference, being a part of the culture we're building, where player development is at the forefront of everything that we do. And look, being a part of a winning environment, playing in the Moody Center, this isn't a place that I want any of our players to want to leave. This is a one-of-one, world-class place to be at. So with that, I think it gives us a great opportunity to retain our best players. One thing, you've heard coaches say this to you, especially in college basketball, because our sport is different than all the other sports. Everyone on our team is in the portal, even though if they don't go in the portal, because people are able to be contacted. So they have choices, and what we want to present to their family, number one, and them as the players that we're coaching, sometimes their agents, is that we have the best environment for them to grow and develop and become what they want to become, not only on the court, but in the classroom and off the court. So retention is a big word, and I think it's a big word for us moving forward. It doesn't mean that that was the goal this past year, but make no mistake, as we move forward, being able to keep somebody like Modest, who goes from his first year with us to his second year, picks up where he left off, has great familiarity of our system, and could be one of the leaders of our team. We want to create that as part of our program as you guys cover us.
Yeah, interesting thoughts there on it, because it's an ever-changing landscape in all of college athletics. We'll be back to wrap up today's edition of the program on 1300 The Zone.
I scream. You scream. We all scream. Because Wendy's famous small classic Frosty is just $1 for a limited time. More screaming, happy screaming, summer screaming, dollar small classic Frosty screaming! But please don't scream in the drive-thru. It hurts the employees' ears. Get a $1 small classic Frosty for a limited time, only at Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. A la carte only, not valid for delivery. Limit 10 per transaction. Price may be higher in Alaska.
Looking for a great deal on a new truck? Head to Covert Chevy in Hutto. It's now open on Sundays for your convenience. Right now, get $13,923 off of MSRP on a new 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500 LTZ. Whether it's for work, the ranch, or your next road trip, there's never been a better time to drive home in a Silverado. Visit Covert Chevy Hutto and experience the Covert difference. That's a Covert deal. That's Covert Chevy Hutto right off of 79 in Hutto. CovertChevyHutto.com. Together, let's drive.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 512-546-3415 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. Call 512-546-3415 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 512-546-3415 for fast, easy, and affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinic treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 512-546-3415.
And Doug.
Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons, and lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen, and oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live, and you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
From the studio who brought you the #1 podcast, The Piketon Massacre. This is Murder 101.
A group of high school students started a project to research a string of unsolved murders.
Those murders happened in the mid-1980s.
He's out there doing stuff. He just didn't stop.
What if this guy's still alive? Like, what if he comes after us?
For 3 decades, the mystery remained unsolved.
It wasn't just a class assignment, it was real life.
These women really deserve justice. They were just living their lives and they had their whole lives ahead of them.
There's a pretty good chance he's still alive.
It was a little scary, I'm not going to lie.
Once you start getting a few tips or a few leads, then the cold case isn't so cold anymore.
What seemed like an ordinary high school class turned out to be anything but.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, covering the 40 acres.
All right, we come to the end of the program today. Jake Herman is about to be gone for a week. What will we do without him? You're going back home, right?
Going back home, catch up with family and friends who I haven't seen in a while. Of course, DC, not going to be so much of a reprieve from the Austin heat, but
right,
you're going to make do, have lots to talk about, and I trust that there'll be plenty of inconceivable items for me to catch up with.
Are the Nationals going to be in town?
I'm just going to miss them, actually. It's tough timing there. I am going to go to the finals of the DC tennis tournament, though, on Sunday, so I'll get a little live sports fix in.
All right. Have a great time.
Thank you.
All right. The super promo kid, as we call him, the self-styled promo kid, Antone Lycum will be the producer in Jake's absence. Thanks to our guests today. That included Greg Tepper, editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, and our MLB insider, Gene Watson. Now for the producer, Jake Herman, I'm Craig Way. We thank you for joining us. Bucky and BK are up next. We'll visit with you tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock right here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone.
Booking.com is the easiest way. From a day surrounded by noise